One of the things that you're going to discover tonight is that I have a lot of open bottles. I'm going to spend most of tonight trying to justify that and explaining how I manage it, why I'm worried, why I'm not worried, all the things that come with open bottle syndrome. So rather than me tell you how that's come about, the first thing I think I should probably do is demonstrate it, because literally this wasn't set up. This arrived this afternoon. This arrived actually this evening, this wee delivery. I've never done an unboxing on the channel ever. This is a first. So I'll pop this open and I'll show you what's in this air sac. I prefer the companies that just put cardboard and things. These air sacs I don't like them. I know they're not single use. I know that you can store them up and reuse them. I was storing them for a while, and when I got to having about 80 or 100, I just had to slash and cut them up, and then they become single-use plastic. I prefer the companies like Whisky, who always send you in shredded cardboard. Everything is just so much more disposable then. Here we have a favourite of mine. This was actually reviewed on Dramface this week, and it reminded me to open another bottle. That's what this is. So let's get it open. They're just arrived just through the door. Still a bit cool, actually. The temperature of the bottle is still cool. It's usually a good idea to leave it for a day or so at least to let the contents settle. But we're not doing that tonight. This is why I have too many bottles. I'll explain why when I see you in a wee minute. Hello, Whisky folk. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday night. Welcome to the vPub. Welcome to me tonight talking about the ridiculous issue that I have with far too many open bottles, and why I don't really mind. When I tell people how many whiskey bottles I have, or when they witness it, when they come here and they see it, sometimes they're a bit shocked and surprised, and sometimes I do feel a wee bit of discomfort or maybe even embarrassment. And I often say I'm embarrassed to say I have this many bottles. But I'm also proud to say that this many are open, meaning that it's not going to be something that I'm investing in. It's not something that I'm going to polish and put on display and keep for some time in the future. Everything is there for me to open, to connect with, to experience. Once it's open, it means that I can share it as well. And that's very much what my collection is about. A couple of years ago, well, actually quite a lot of years ago, before the current Aqvavitae website, it started out as a wee bit of a blog before I get quite bored of doing blogs. And I wrote a piece on open bottle syndrome, and I came up with this thing. I don't know if syndrome is the right word, but it's certainly a collection of symptoms for me, let's say, syndrome. And I talked about it being a reflection of me. When I was a kid at school and Easter rolled around, this time of year that we're in right now, in Europe and certainly in the UK, we exchange chocolate eggs, right? That's how we mark Easter. Every holiday seems to be marked with copious amounts of chocolate these days, right? Anyway, when I was a kid, any Easter egg that I was given, I just ate it on the spot. It was just gone. It was within minutes, it was gone. Very immediate. Weeks and weeks later, I would take the bus to school and there would be kids on that bus with Easter eggs that they'd managed to somehow save. I was incredulous. How can you save this and eat it weeks and weeks down the line in front of me and not give me some? It was incredible. And I realized even at that young age that clearly this was a personality issue. And I think it's going to weave into the discussion in and out of tonight. Now that I'm older, I don't really eat chocolate anymore, and I don't really care much for chocolate Easter eggs. However, I love whiskey. And it's difficult for me to have a new bottle come into the house and me not want to open it. Now, this Speyburn 15, why have I opened this? I know what this whiskey tastes like. I've talked to you about Speyburn 15. I've evangelized about Speyburn 15. It's a fantastic bottle, or at least this was a fantastic bottle. This is my second one. And I've got so many open bottles that I forgot about this one. There's one in the recycled pile, but this one was sitting at the back with about this much left in it, and I found it and realised that there's a bit of an admin issue comes with having so many open bottles, right? This one had been ignored. So I grabbed it, and it tasted exactly the same as the one that I'd just finished. Now that it's so close to the end, that's actually what's in the glass here. And reading the dramface.com review of it this week, I was reminded I need to replace that bottle. So I'm replacing things that I love, as well as doing the thing for the channel, exploring, trying new things, trying to uncover things that you might be interested in, try and discover the next good value item, the next ignored whatever it may be. Why am I buying another Speyburn? Well, I would love for this Speyburn to be consistent. I would love this bottle to be every bit as good as this one. If I look at the bottle code on this, I'm hoping it's going to be different. I can't really decipher a lot of these bottle codes, and it's very difficult to read. "5323" that one ends in. So let's see if I can read this one. It's definitely 5497. So we have a different batch here. That's good. So what I can do is I can pour the second one. Does look a wee bit darker. I don't know if it is definitely darker. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera, but this one, the new one, is a bit darker. That's fantastic. We need to embrace that. That batch to batch inconsistency and variation means that we're looking at a product that's naturally colored, and they don't mind if it changes a wee bit batch to batch, and neither do we. And hopefully, even if it's a wee bit different, terrific. Even if it's a wee bit different, the quality that I've enjoyed with my first two Speyburn 15s is going to remain the same. So we'll do that. As we just demonstrating to you, typically, what happens in my house. There's another bottle here that I've kept sealed. We might get round to opening this tonight. This is the Whisky Exchange April Fool release. It says April Fool, extremely old. I wish I were younger. But if you use a black light on it, I don't know if this is going to work actually. It reveals, see, hey, Whisky Exchange, you're going to need to invest in better black lights, I think. Here we go. Give it a whack for it to come on. Hopefully you can see that it starts to reveal that it actually says you were focus, please. If I get my face out of it, maybe there's a chance for it to focus. Ah, dear. We April fooled you. I'm not going to try and read it, but down here it reveals a wee picture of a distillery, and we can see that it actually says Ardnamurchan. They send you along the little black light as a freebie. This sold out pretty quickly, but there was a WhatsApp messages going about saying that it was available. I went on and they still had it there. And I bought it. I had heard in advance that it was going to be an Ardnamurchan this year. And so I was pretty keen to get a hold of it. 53.2%. I think it was £75, £70, something like that. So not too expensive for a cask strength Ardnamurchan, right? So maybe we'll get around to opening that a wee bit later. I guarantee you, regardless, this is not going to last in my collection very long. I'm going to want to know what this tastes like, because I have a bit of a duty to you, to everybody that supports me through Patreon and everything. Is this good? Are they consistently good? Are the new ones good? Why should I buy this? Should I try and seek it out? Whatever it may be. And a lot of people are quite happy to keep this maybe sealed in their collection at home. But if I started to say, wow, this is a cracker, you're going to love this, and you're going to love sharing it, they're probably going to be more likely to bring it to the front of the queue for opening. So there's a wee bit of a service there as well. Anyway, before I get into the whys, the hows, and everything about our collection, and I will be confessing to you exactly how many or what ratio of bottles I have opened. But we're already quite a few minutes in, so I need to jump in and welcome some of you beautiful whiskey folk and dedicated barflies. I hope you're all doing very well. There's no vPub next week. I'll be taking a holiday. How selfish of me. It's the first holiday this year, I think it is. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I do need it. I'm taking a wee break next week, but there is a plan afoot. Don't worry, don't panic. There is some place for you to go next week. JG is here. Good to see you, JG. Dan Fordham. Dan, good to see you as well. Andy Cowley. Andy, look, that looks like a new name. Wonderful to welcome you in, my friend. Tolga Enyon, that looks like a new name as well. Tolga, it's wonderful to welcome you too. Daniel, Whiskey Throttle is telling me to stop whining. Good to have you in, Daniel. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Drew from Arizona is here. Hell's Woods, Max Kreitner, Frank Peathead. It's Shayla. You'll be seeing Shayla a wee bit later. Whiskey Central Shayla is here. Sugar Kitty, Bruno Martins, Max Kreitner. Danny Hebbington. Danny, good to see you. Rolf, Ebhead is here. Fantastic. I've got plenty moderators in tonight looking after the chat. So if they've got a wee spanner next to their name, they can help you if you're trying to get something important across. Callum Muir, Gordon Fraser. Good to see you, Callum. Good to see you, Gordon. Whiskey with Molly, Ben, Chris Pollux, Dave Cummins. Dave, how you doing? Didn't even romance her a little ha-ha. Is that you're talking about before it's open? I know. There is a lot of ceremony. I think it's nice to talk about that, Dave. We will talk about maybe the ceremony of opening a bottle. I do quite like it. Anthony Dunn is here. Fantastic, Anthony. Good to see you. Oops, just as it jumps again. Antonio D. Antonio, cheers from Portugal. Wonderful. Welcome in, my friend. Wonderful to have you here. Fantastic. Graham Fraser. Kilco, Brian. Wonderful to have you, Brian. Good to see you. Mirko Blockwitz, I think, Mirko, I'm pronouncing your name vaguely correctly. Thank you. Nice to see you here tonight. And thank you for your recent support as well, my friend, inside Patreon. Che Francis is here too. Good to see you, Che. Andy C. Wonderful, Andy. Good to see you, my friend. Scrolling down now just to try and catch. Wow, I've missed so many comments. Kevin Olila is in. Kevin, he's saying, hello, first time catching live. Wanted to hop in for a few minutes, but I'll be catching the replay later tonight. Kevin, thank you very much for dropping in live, and especially a huge thanks for picking it up on the replay like so many of you do. If you're watching this on Facebook, there's been a bit of commentary going backwards and forwards on Facebook. People trying to get my attention on there. I pick it up after the event. I don't pick up the Facebook comments live. So if you're trying to get my attention at the chat that I'm interacting with, all the folk tonight, 280 odds of them are inside YouTube chatting. I can pull in the Facebook comments, but it gets clumsy. And yes, so this is the chat inside YouTube I'm talking to. Nice to have you, Kevin. Wonderful to see you. Dave Cummins is saying a closed bottle is like an unopened toy. What's the point? See, you're early in your journey, Dave. I get it. And you're still very similar. I'm still very similar to that. Whiskey Novice has joined the Barflies. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you in, Jim. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Whiskey Novice over in Northern Ireland. Jimmy Ledaig is here. You might be seeing Jimmy a wee bit later. One of the channel. We can't call them elders. Elder statesmen, let's say. Jimmy and Doc is going to join me for a wee game, a visit at Speyside a bit later on. I'm looking forward to hearing from those guys. Whiskey Throttle is saying, would you go crazy at my house then, Roy? If you let me, Daniel, I'd go crazy in anyone's house. As long as it's reciprocated, right? If you come along here and you fancied going crazy here, you'd be very welcome to, buddy. Pierre is saying, and a welcome to you too, you human, your human bottle opener. Absolutely. And Daniel's saying you need Ralphie Steampunker. That's for reading those bottle codes. Absolutely, I do. Peter Wilcox is saying, hey Roy, was at the Bristol Whisky Festival at the weekend. Spoke to Julie from Elements of Isla. Julie from Elixir, yes. Elements of Isla is one of those the brands under her umbrella, I think. Lovely lady and a very knowledgeable. Picked up some nice bottles too. Cheers, Pete. Julie is a tour de force. She's wonderful. She's fantastic. Love being in her company. I love what she does for whiskey too. She's quite remarkable. Everyone just saying ahoy, malt mates. Good to see you, Chris. I hope you're doing well. Callum Muir is here too, saying looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the April Fool's release. Grabbed a couple of bottles, but need to try and treat my open bottle syndrome a bit before I crack them open. Ooh, interesting. So you're having some challenges there. Let's see what we can do. If there's any prescriptions. that can help you, Callum. Prestige Liquids. Andrew's here. Good day from the other side of the world. Good day right back to you from the other side. Or good evening, Andrew, right back to you from the other side of the world. I hope you're doing well down there, buddy. Multi-mission. Jumped again, Menno. I'm so sorry. And it was a big jump, and I've missed a super chat, and oh my goodness, I'm way behind. Anthony Dunn is saying, hi Roy, have a dram on me. Sharing is great. Introducing a friend to something new is fantastic. Having bottle sharing buddies also means you get to try so much more than you would buy on your own. I'm into that. Everything about that statement is absolutely awesome. As soon as you get involved in a friendship, a club, a group, a collective, whatever it is, over the internet bottle sharing team of folk that are just keen to share, it really amplifies the enjoyment. Not only are you getting to try more whiskies, but you're getting to try it with other people. It really does make a big difference. I know it doesn't suit everyone. It's not always about sharing all the time. Sometimes we just like to collapse in an armchair with a wee glass of whiskey and our own thoughts. But in my experience, whiskey is so much about sharing. And I think it's very hard to share whiskey unless it's in an open bottle. Ryan Sutherland is here. Don McCausland, James DeGulio. Fantastic. Just so many of you in tonight. Sugar Kitty is saying, need something else to do next week. Be sure to check into Whisky Central, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. So there you go. Sugar Kitty's already preempting where you've got some shelter for next week while I'm taking a bit of a break. Shayla is going to be on a wee bit later too. We're going to involve Shayla in the quiz at the end and hand over the baton to her for next week. Lee J. Brown, who's got his pink butterfly. He's been a member for 25 months. Babysitting tonight. Grandbaby says hi. Fantastic, Lee J. Hello to you and Grandbaby. The Barflies group is there are the guys by clicking the join button. If you're on desktop, there's a join button underneath. You get access to emojis and loyalty badges and things, and it keeps the vPub ad free. That's not what finances the vPub though. The vPub is financed, kept independent. So everything that you hear me talk about, I have bought with my own money. Nothing is free, nothing is shipped and sent to me. I buy it. That's important because when I tell you about it or talk about it or give it context, review it, whatever it is, I know how much it's cost. And I've handed over that money to have the bottle. I think it's important. That is all financed through Patreon. The channel endures. I'm able to turn up here every week thanks to all the support I get through my lovely, wonderful patrons over on Patreon. Anyway, I know I do talk about the funding quite a lot, but I get a lot of questions about it regularly. It does seem to be a wee bit opaque. I need to do something about that. Maybe have some place that I can send people to explain it. Sugar Kitty is saying, hey, this cat is out of the bag. Listen, there's no spoilers there. Shayla will be on a wee bit later. And we've also, don't be afraid, we've also got a Menno quiz at the end. I kind of like these community things. I've been speaking to lots of guests recently and teeing up guests. Listen, guests have to have something that they're interested to talk about. That isn't them just pushing a brand or a bottle or whatever it may be. And if I can get something that they want to talk about, we schedule them in and they're a guest on the show, and we get something that the community wants to hear about that you guys want to talk about. So there are guests being plugged in for late April and into May. But I really quite enjoy these vPubs. I hope you do too. I'm quite happy to sit here and monologue to you about certain topics. I hope you get something out of that, hanging out with each other in the chat too. But it's nice when I can get community folk on and have a wee bit of a laugh and raise a glass together too. So that's kind of the plan tonight. And we'll be talking to them about how they manage their open bottle syndrome, or even if it's a thing for them. I want to raise a wee glass actually to Solly, but he was in earlier and he bought me a dram before we went even live. So raise this wee glass of Speyburn 15 and say, Solly, thanks very much for your good wishes before we even live tonight. And thanks for buying me the dram. A huge thanks to Anthony Dunn, who bought me a wee dram there too, with that comment. And I think there's another one just dropped in from Glenys Maid. It's been several weeks since I've been able to catch the vPub. You never need to worry about it. Sounds like a confessional there, Glenys. Listen, the vPub's here for when it suits your mood. Good to catch one before I head off to Isla on Monday. Oh, I'm a wee bit jealous. but I'm headed out to Isla in June. I hope you have a wonderful time. You'll be there ahead of Midgie season. Glenys, come back in a couple of weeks and tell us how you got on, but thanks for your dram. Thanks, Anthony, and excuse me, thanks, Paulie, as well. Cheers. Neil Averty is saying he only opens 3 or 4 at a time and changes between them. That is very disciplined. I could never, even if I didn't have the channel, I could never be that. Speyburn 15 has been a revelation for me. I'm distracted by that. It's quite a modern whiskey. You know, there's nothing kind of old school or this is quite bright and rich and full, but it's very textured. It's very fruity. It's suddenly become, from something that I walked past 2 years ago, as recently as that, honestly, it's become an absolute staple, as you saw tonight. Fantastic stuff. Let's go into the new one. This is still cooler. The temperature is cooler here. So I'm expecting maybe this one to be a wee bit closed. But I just want it to be as rich as the last 2 that I had. Snoozing pretty well. More sherry. Richer. Drier. Not as sweet. It's just been opened. A wee bit minerally. Different. Maybe better. Maybe better. I'll sit with it for a wee while. First reaction is very good. Talk about vPub confessions. It's almost been a year since I last got a session and you still remember my name. Andrew, I'll never forget your name, buddy. I'll never forget your name. And I don't, listen, you're active in the comments. You're here, you're doing your own thing on YouTube as well, Andrew, under Prestige Liquids as well. You're one of the community. If I do forget your name, then shame on me. Pierre is here as well. Pierre Cruff, good to see you, Pierre. Good evening, Aqvavitae, good evening, Barflies. Had the honour to meet some of you in Nuremberg last weekend at the village. Fantastic. Doc was there. I hope you bumped into Doc. Gerben Blocker is saying, Roy, have a very nice holiday. We will be waiting. Gerben, I'm looking forward to bumping into you in Limburg later in April. I hope anybody that's going to be at Limburg, I'm hoping to be there for all of the days, both of the days, the Saturday and the Sunday, and be amongst you all again. It should be great fun. Okay, Ben Demon Hunter is no, there's no such thing as a lurker, Ben. Listen, a lot of people just, they don't really enjoy the chat. They find the chat hard to keep up with, or they want to focus on what's being said rather than what's been written, and I get it, don't worry. You can be a barfly in the chat, or you can be a barfly on the wall. It's absolutely up to you. Whisky and obviously saying curiosity has me opening almost every bottle I buy. I'm almost, but not quite, sad to admit I have almost 200 open bottles. Curiosity will kill this cat one day. Jim, relax, my friend, my erudite friend over there in Ireland, doing your thing on YouTube the same as what I do. There's a reason you've got this wonderful excuse for all the bottles that you have, because you're doing your YouTube thing. You're actively reviewing whiskey. It's important that you not only know what this Speyburn's 15 tastes like if you're going to review it, but you have to also know what the competition to the Speyburn 15 tastes like, because that's how you decide whether it's good value or not. It also helps you give it context, and your experience that you bring into it through trying all of these different whiskies means that your view of this one whiskey is so much more valuable. It's important. Now, I'm not suggesting that we should all be drinking whiskey all the time if we're going to review it. It's not about drinking. For us, it's so much about flavour and taste and having a moment with the whiskey. And it is so compelling that for a lot of us, Jim and me included, the bottles they rarely get past the threshold, but they're burst open. Let me start with the confession. I shared a bottle count with you a few months ago, and I was just shy of 500 bottles. It's now over 500 bottles, and I have a bit less than 20% sealed. Now, you're going to work out, okay, this guy's sitting on 400 open bottles of whiskey. That's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But this is not a normal situation for me. I do try to get through the whiskies. I share like a crazy man. Anybody that comes through the store, anybody that's been in my company, been in this space, anybody that's been the recipient of a package from me will know that I share the whiskey like crazy. That's what it's all about. I can never get through, I can never drink all of this whiskey. But I do want to taste all of this whiskey. And tasting and drinking are two very, very different things. And I think, considering recent vPubs especially, a lot of us are very aware of that. Another wee dram's come in as well. I don't want to miss this. Whiskey Reaper has bought me a dram Slancheroy, my fellow barflies from New York City. Hey, Whiskey Reaper, fantastic. Where in New York are you? Special place in my life, New York. I hope you're doing very well, my friend. I'll raise this glass and say thanks for your dram. Cheers. I would argue that my problem, given what I do with this, that's Speyburn is fantastic. That's the new one. If anybody has, there's a lovely little bit of aniseed there, a little bit of clove or something. This is more, there's more active sherry, I think, on this than the previous one. Still fantastic. £53 for a 15-year-old fully natural product. Interesting that they don't care about the colour variation between the two. Even when there's only a wee bit left in these glasses, you can see that that one's darker too. I'm going to enjoy this one as well. I think that given the fact that I have a bit less than 20% sealed, that's actually, I've got to answer for that. Why are all those bottles sealed? What am I doing with those? Am I hoarding them? Are they investment bottles? Are they you know, insider trading that's going on? I'm stashing and putting things away, and I can tell you no. I have some bottles here, I will be honest, that it's going to be very, very difficult for me to justify opening them, because they were £40 or £50 when I bought them, and now they're double, triple, something crazy like that. Some bottles that just happens with. Some are even more extreme than that. So it gets to the point that, especially if I know what they taste like, I've already tried them, you know, there's some bottles that I'm probably going to think that's tradable. That's going to mean something more in the future. That doesn't make me a flipper, and it does not make me a whiskey investor. That's just a product, an incidental product of over-accumulation. And if I was to open those bottles, it would be either fiscally irresponsible, or it would have to be for a very good reason, something that everybody, including me, got a lot of value out of. A comparison then and now, or whatever it may be. There are some bottles here, but I could literally count them with my fingers. Really, really not many. There are some expensive and special bottles here that remain sealed because they've got a very special thing planned for them. There's some sentimental attachment, company that I've enjoyed these bottles with, and I've managed to secure another one, and we're going to open it together. The Brora that I've squirreled away, it's in hiding, waiting for when I go up to Sutherland and I can put a camping chair in a field somewhere close to the distillery and open it with friends. There's a bottle that was gifted to me for a birthday years and years ago, and the guy who bought it to me, my brother-in-law, him and I will open that together when the time is right. There are other open bottles here that aren't open, but they're not open yet. And anyone that's been in my company will know that all it takes is a mere curiosity or suggestion, and it's opened. That stresses a lot of people out. That's a lot of people get, how do you manage this? How do you stay on top of this? And I think that's pretty important. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about managing a collection is different from managing an open collection. And I think once a bottle is open, you know, there's no value there anymore. It's not worth anything. It's just for sharing and tasting and drinking and enjoying. But I think we need to talk about the difference between that collection and that selection thing. How long does it last? How do you manage it? How do you keep up? How do you administer it? One size does not fit all. Menno series, I hear you, Roy. There are a few in my collection that are now worth a fair bit. Can't ever live up to the price tag now, so they might end up on auction or for the next generation. Perfect. As long as it's worth something on auction, you can get some cash and buy something else that you will open and enjoy. And if you decide that you want to leave it for the next generation, they can either cash it in or open it and enjoy it and think of you. That doesn't make us cynical flippers and people that are only in whiskey for investment. People have been around the channel to know that is very much not what I'm about. But we also have to remember that just because some people have some nice bottles stashed, it doesn't make them a flipper or a hoarder or anything negative. Reb is saying Roy has a bottle of Macallan of Stephen Klein, which he will open tonight for us all to see. Reb, I tell you what I do not have. I do not have a bottle of Macallan. I do have this here, but I'll talk about that in a wee second. I've just, for those of you listening podcast style, I've just held up very early 2000s, late 1990s bottle of Macallan 10-year-old, the old, much missed and long discontinued 10-year-old. We'll talk about that in a wee second. James DeGillo is saying, I want to finish so I can open another. It's that exploration thing. So you're obviously finishing before you open more. So many bottles and no recycled reviews. That's part of it, Jimmy, because there's so many. If I've only got 20 bottles, I'm going to get through them quite quickly. But that is the thing that a drinker does. Or let's say somebody who's keeping a smaller collection and keeping it neat and only opening more when he gets through or finishes the previous bottles. That's not what's happening here. So these levels are dropping ever so slowly, right? And the wider the collection becomes, the more slowly the level drops. So the recycled reviews are suffering. That's me making more excuses for not having one out. The bottles are there. I just need to get out and get it recorded, Jimmy. Hey, I'll thank you and everybody else for your patience. However, what I will do tonight is I will go through bottles that are suffering through my open bottle syndrome. These are bottles that I've bought for the vPub, I've shared on the vPub, I've opened on the vPub to talk about cask strength whiskies, to talk about Speyside whiskies, specific region whiskies, to talk about the ignored whiskies, whatever they may be. And then they've been put back on the shelf once they've done their bit. And for some strange reason, not least because of open bottle syndrome, I've never reached back again. It's interesting, isn't it? And I think it tells a tale. Not only it tells us what we might not have been enjoying. If it was something that struck us and we enjoyed, surely we'd be going back for other drams. Surely we'd be pouring samples and sending them out to other people. But for some reason, I've got 5 bottles here that I picked. Just random. I just picked 5 for tonight. I just thought it'd be a nice selection to say, look, why have I not connected with these? So once I've enjoyed these Speyburns tonight, that's what's going to be my accompaniment throughout tonight. Menno is saying no, purely accidental, as you say. Absolutely. Ryan McLeave is saying so many open bottles just means more recycled reviews. I love the optimism. It should mean that. I just need to try a bit harder. That's the truth of it, Ryan, isn't it? Brian is saying the weather also affects when you can do a recycled review, I'm sure. We had really nice weather for a few weeks, and the last couple of days has been not so nice. Did dry up a wee bit, but it was still quite wet outside, and I was playing football with my son today, and we're skidding around in the mud outside. JJ saying, I just did the math, 61% of my bottles are opened. That's not far away from me, JG. Good news is, Whiskey 101 Nick says 500 bottles times 80% open, 400 divided by 12, average 33 recycled reviews yet to come. Whoop, whoop. So you don't mind if I do recycled reviews with very, very kind of esoteric things, indies, single casks and things. I don't know how much merit they've got for a recycled review. Maybe I could do some kind of post-credit stuff with it. I don't know. I love it. I love the... what about duplicates? How do you feel about me doing duplicates? Well, I mean, I think it's fine. It's fine for me to do 2 Speyburn 15s, right, when they're different, and I can kind of talk about that. So, yeah, you have a point, Nick. You absolutely do. Jaime, Jamie is saying, I have 120 open bottles because I hate killing bottles, because I will most likely not buy them again, with some exceptions. And 2, I want to taste them all. There is that thing where it's hard for a lot of people, me included sometimes, depending on the bottle, to to kill that bottle off, to take that that wee bit out of it, and know that sometimes, oftentimes, you might not ever get it again. I'm going to try and find the results of the poll I did with patrons. Let's see if I can open this up. Can I do that? Will that open up? Can I do that as a screen share? Let's see if I can make that work. Oh, I think it will. So hopefully you can see that. This is two polls that I put out on Patreon. Sometimes I put out a poll on YouTube, and it gets really a lot of interaction, and it's fantastic. This time, I just kind of wanted to put it out to Patreon, the people that were closest to the channel, and try and work out how the people closest and knowing the people that know me best, I suppose, how they are doing. Are they kind of similar to me, or is it a bit of a mixed bag? And you can clearly see just by looking at these bars that it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag. I've asked this question, and this is quite vague. It was very difficult to come up with something. There wasn't always an option for everyone, but they could select multiple of the same option if they wanted. So out of 237 votes on this one, the question asked for this one was, how do you feel about open bottles? I give them an option to say, I take care with my open bottles and often use wine preserver or other sealant. Only 17. So there's only 17 that take care and are a bit nervous about it. There was another option that said, I am careful, but I don't use any additional sealant other than the bottle stopper. Now, that's the most popular answer with 89. So people being careful, but not taking any particular steps. Somewhere about the middle, I vaguely keep a tab on open bottles, but I like to keep it in check. 39. I don't really care. Had 30, so I don't really care about open bottle count or preservation. I'm not at that scale yet. That was 30. And the second most popular was, I don't care at all. I like to see how they develop and change over time. That was 60. So that's interesting. So most of my community, by the way, there was only 2 people who said I finish bottles before opening new, so it's never an issue. Only 2. I was very surprised to see that. But the people that are like that do tend to be very, very fixed about it. They do have a very fixed structure, either down to real estate, down to space, down to just managing their whiskey. They just want to have a manageable, nice selection, and they don't want to let it run away. But I was surprised to see only 2 people answered there. But you can see that people are either not using sealant and being careful, or the second most common, people that are genuinely, they just don't care. They've given up worrying and having any anxiety about the bottles being long and open glass, or the whiskey being long and open bottles. I also asked them, how many bottles do you have open? This was anonymous, so they're not telling me how many bottles they have. They're not sharing it with everybody, how many bottles they have. So they could be absolutely brutally honest here. And it ran from everywhere to say only a few open at any one time, 10 or less. Somebody that you could have said, I have a nice selection, up to around 25. I have more than I need open, up to 50. I have more than 50 open. I open with abandon. I have over 100 open. Or I am a maniac like you, Roy, with over 200 open. Well, I'm actually double that now. There are only 12 maniacs out there like me. A bit less votes on this one, only 205 votes on this one. People maybe want to have, maybe not share how many bottles they have, I guess. 20 people said they open with abandon. 39 have more than 50. 49 have up to 50. 58 have less than 25. And 27 have only a few open, 10 or so at the same time. So quite a spread there. The most popular 2 were in the order of 25 and 50. People up close to where I am was only more than 50, 39, more than 120, and more than 212. So what's the point there? What point am I making? I think it's quite obvious. Whatever you're doing, however many bottles you have open, however many you have sealed, however you run your collection, whether it's a handful or several hundred, it is a reflection of where you are at in whiskey right now, what you can afford, what you wish to spend your money on, but also how you treat whatever those whiskies are. Sorry, how you treat those whiskies while you have them is an absolute reflection of your personality. So believe me, I am not here to encourage any of you to change what you're doing right now. But we do have to talk about some of the issues. I held up this Macallan here, this 10-year-old. You can see the liquid in this is very dark, and there's a reason for that. I'm not actually sure if I've ever talked about this bottle on the vPub before. I might have done. Hopefully the story that I'm going to share with you about it tonight is consistent, because I might have been a bit coy with it in the past. And I've also certainly shared this bottle with you on the vPub before. This is an old non-age statement Ledaig from Tobermory Distillery. It's a 42% bizarre ABV, isn't it? 42%, but it is what it is. It's a big peat bomb, and I can tell you that my brother bought this for me. Apparently, it was him that tells me, for my birthday in 2009. I can guarantee that I opened it immediately in 2009. So this bottle has been open for 13 years, fast approaching 13 years. For the last 10 years, oops, sorry, I've hit the mic there. For the last 10 years, it's only had a couple or 3 inches in the bottle. The majority of this was enjoyed very early on. I say enjoyed with a very small E on this one. And I'll tell you why, I'll explain. Doc is saying you have, Roy, so he remembers the story behind it. Don McCausland is saying, absolutely a function of where I am in my journey, just starting, so wanting to taste everything. That's normal. I think it's normal for people to just try and get as much experience, try and get as much exploration done as quickly as they can. Dave Cummins, I imagine, is the exact same. You remember a 50-year-old whiskey virgin who only had whiskey for the first time in 2021. Alcohol for the first time in 2021, actually. But he's now gone out there and buying like crazy to try and catch up and explore all of these things, and he's loving it. Glenn Duncan is in. Good to see you, Glenn. Somebody else on the opposite end of the world. Glenn is saying, good morning to you all. Torn between whiskey and Masters. Yes, the Masters is underway. I caught some of the scores earlier on. I don't know if I'll have any time on my hands to catch up with that. I might listen to it on the radio. Andrew Pierce is saying, I don't think I can recall a bottle that has suffered from being open a couple of years. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you now that there is a huge chunk of my collection that is a couple of years open and longer, sometimes much longer. I went to the 2 extremes here. So this has been open for, I'm just going to have a tiny wee sip of this tonight, just to say, look, is this how I remember it? Has it gone off? Has it gone flat? I have never loved this Ledaig. My brother might not be over the moon to hear that, but he's probably going to be ambivalent. Still very sweet, and it's still very smoky. It's still alive, still vibrant. It's still alcohol. Might actually be better than I remember. Let's have a wee sip. Still thin, still youthful. It goes all, sweet icing sugar and then saccharin, and then it's all kind of confectionery and smoke, and they're sitting apart still. This is just a young whiskey, not a great whiskey. No. Anyway, my point is that if this Ledaig has changed in the last 13 years of being open at a very low level, I have to tell you it has not changed much. Now, I have a blunt palate, perhaps, okay? And somebody else would pick this up and go, oh my goodness, this is flat. And I don't think so. This has still got life and vibrance about it. This has still been quite happy. It's not been stable. I'm sure it has changed, but it's not changed a lot. If anything, it's maybe rounded out or softened out just a tiny bit. Maybe some of the smoke or something could have dissipated, but I'm just really guessing now. I didn't put away a sample in an archive or anything to drink it alongside, but I could pour that for anyone, and I don't think anybody would say, wow, that's super flat. Let's grab the next one. I think this has been probably, I got this in 2013, 2012 maybe, something of that order. But what's in this bottle is not Macallan 10. This was just a bottle it was poured into. This is actually one of these unknown whiskies that somebody gets from their pal, who got from his pal and somebody else. And I was just given this. Roy, I don't really like whiskey here. What do you think? What is this? And he said, I don't know. We worked out what we felt it was through the friend chain and connection and things, what it could be. But I can tell you that it was absolutely fabulous. And I eked it out and eked it out and eked it out. Then I forgot about it. And this is all that's left. Now, what I'm going to actually do is share this. This is for the Whisky Rev and I, this wee drop that's left, because we had such great times with this whiskey. But I'd like to try a wee sip of it tonight. Because if that's been in here for 8 years, in an open bottle with a fairly dry cork, actually, I mean, it's still got a seal on it, but if it's been in here for 8 years, surely that's gone flat. Oh my goodness, no, it's gorgeous. This tastes like, or it smells like, and I know that it tastes like, just, if anybody has ever stood in a really old dunnage warehouse with old casks, that cool, damp air, that wonderful, heady, aromatic smell. I mean, it's just gorgeous liquid. Gorgeous. Let's see if it's gone off or gone flat. This is for you, Ref. Cheers. Treacle and cinnamon buns and chocolate and leather, burnt toffee, dark chocolate, dry, so dry, velvety, oak, old, chewed, tired wood. There's every chance that this has gone softer, let's say. But no, things like this make me realize that I don't care about all these open bottles, not from a vibrance, not from a freshness, I don't gas anything. I never have gassed anything. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because where I am, I live in Scotland and we don't have a lot of temperature variation in our houses. We don't have a lot of sunshine to worry about. So the climate and wherever you are, it could be different from where you are, but I don't have corks drying out. I don't have issues storing the bottles. Everything is out of the box. I rarely keep boxes. The boxes are often gone. There isn't a box on display here, bar maybe one or two up the back here because there's something about the box. So I'm really just with abandon not managing my open bottles. I'm not managing them at all. And there has been rare occasion where I've ever had a concern about that. It's going to be hard for anything else I have tonight to live up to that. Anyway, if you have a huge open bottle collection, depending on where you are, you might have to take steps to look after it. Don't just listen to me. Monitor what's happening with your whiskey. If you do feel that something's happening with it because of where you live, fine, you might want to do something with it. I can tell you that I have never had to bother. Whiskey Throttle is saying, "Oh, Roy, I can't wait to go home and find the 2 remaining sample bottles you gave me at the airport back in 2018. I wonder what if one of them was this, Daniel. That would be amazing." Rob Mordecai is saying, "Roy, my experience is that heavily peated malts don't keep their integrity as long as non-peated, perhaps due to our hot climate." Well, when you say integrity, do you mean that the peat kind of diminishes a wee bit? Because that would make some sense, right? Especially in an open bottle if there's a lot of air in there. And the more air that's in the bottle, the more you're going to have evaporation. That shouldn't necessarily affect the peat directly, but peat is a fickle thing, Reb. And it might be about your hot climate. I can tell you that Ledaig tonight is still very, very peaty, very peaty. And the peat has always sat outside of the experience has always been it's a separate thing to me. It doesn't taste like it's in. You've got this really young, youthful, almost new make spirit, honestly. And then you've got this vegetal, more organic peat rather than a kind of ash soot smoke peat. That's that Ledaig for me. Tiny bit funky. Ryan McLeave is saying, do you have the same percent of open bottles in the days before YouTube vPubs? I have to be honest, Ryan, I did. It's always the same before the channel was about. In fact, I would say that there's at least I've got some sealed bottles now. Back in the day, everything was open. There was very, very maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 sealed bottles. It's built over time. Andrew's saying he gets very extreme climate conditions, and I have never noticed an effect. That is interesting. And Raoul is saying, what did you guess work out what was in that Macallan 10 bottle? I wouldn't like to say, because it's a Highland distillery somewhere north of Inverness, and I have there's something called Devil's Share, right? You know what Angel's Share is? Devil's Share is something that just kind of, oh, it was the dregs from a barrel. Oh, it was the dregs from a bottle. Oh, it was the dregs from a bucket. So, aye. X2X Scotch is saying, Aqvavitae, there's 400 in the chat. Why is there 400 in when I've got such? Not only is it a topic that I wanted to talk about open bottle syndrome and the glass loch, because they're very connected, right? 20% of me, I'm contributing to the glass loch. The whiskey loch of the modern times is a glass loch. Everybody's hoarding, and I'm part of the problem. I'm sharing with you that I have close to 100 sealed bottles here. I have no intention of hoarding. It's just over accumulation, but it is what it is. But 400 plus is open. Most of the 100 that I have sealed will eventually be open. Some of them will never be open because, yeah. So it was going to be two in the same thing, the glass loch and open bottle syndrome, but I have to try and keep it neat tonight because I've got guests on, and I have to finish early tonight so that I can get ready for going on my wee break. So it's wonderful to have so many of you in, and thanks all for your support. Kilco is saying, I know I'm very indecisive on what to pour. So many open bottle options can be overwhelming. Absolutely. Well, I'll summarize the questions that came back from those polls that I did, and also from promoting the vPub for this week. It was how long can whiskey stay open? What have I got sealed and why? How do you manage them, and how do you keep track? Let's go with the admin side of it first. Gregor McQueen has a wonderful FOMO destroying theory, and I think it works a treat. If you are buying whiskey and it's staying in its box, or it's worse, even worse, it's cardboard box and it's getting put in a cupboard, or it's getting palletized and put in a lockup somewhere or something like that, fine, that's what you're doing. I'm not here to tell you how to do anything differently. But if you are doing that and you suffer from FOMO, get your bottles out, get them up on display, reassure yourself and remind yourself how much whiskey you have. I rarely suffer from FOMO these days. There are some bottles out there that I'd really like to try, get my hands on. There are some that I'm genuinely interested in, but I never have heartache if I lose out on a bottle. Never. I just don't. There's so much whiskey. I have so much whiskey. All I have to do is take the Gregor McQueen advice and have a look at the whiskey that I have here and remind myself that the last thing I need probably is another bottle. If it's got a value for you guys, the community, the vPub, or if it's fitting in a genuine gap that I have here, then maybe yes. But not these bottles that zeitgeisty, chased bottles. It's not what I'm in about. And I think most of you that hang out with me here, that's not what you're about either. Hoyt is saying Devil's Cut is only good for a beef marinade. Devil's Cut or Devil's Share, I suppose. Yeah, but Devil's Cut is a genuine brand, of course. In Dutch, there is a word. Oh, my goodness. Koitse-stress. Okay, koitse-stress. Menno, when you come on later, you can try and pronounce it. The stress of having too much choice. Often, do you find yourself pondering indecisively on what to pour, Roy? I wonder. That is true. If I'm standing and looking at my cabinet and going, oh, what will I have? I can't decide. Walk away. Don't have one until you work out what you're in the mood for, and then come back. It doesn't need to be that exact bottle or an exact bottle, but you've got a kind of idea. I'm in a peaty mood, a sherry mood. I want something clean and fresh and bright. I want something old and decadent. I want something thick and heavy. I want a sweet bourbon. I want whatever it is. You say, aye, okay, and then you go back and you just look at that section. If you're standing there and just going, oh, maybe just, because then I think you're just wanting, I don't know. A German rock star told me, says Falsgraf, a story once of his 4-year-old son saying, "Why does Daddy go make another record? We already have so many." That's right. My kids get it now. They used to say to me, "Daddy, why are all these bottles turning up? Why more whiskey?" Jaime, not Jamie, saying I have a different kind of FOMO. FOMO discounts. 95% of my bottles were bought on offer. That's a very, very common thing. Some people can't deny themselves a bargain or what they perceive to be a bargain. Absolutely. Kilko is saying, my FOMO tends to come from the whiskey tube folk doing barrel picks. So few bottles in such a brief window to grab one. I get it. I really do get it. I really do. For me, the narrower the bottle selection there is, or rather the smaller the outturn, I should say, the less attractive it is. I'm excited to share a Speyburn 15 with you because you've got a chance of buying that. You've got a chance of sitting somewhere on the planet and drinking the exact same whiskey as me. And that's fun. I like that. But for me to talk about whiskies that you can't buy, you're very, very unlikely to get your hands on because of where you are, or even if you are in the spot where they're available, the count is so small that they're going to be sold out quickly. I have no interest in those. So that helps my FOMO as well, Brian. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Hoyt is saying, been opening my hidden stash, opened up a Kalila unpeated 17-year-old. Oh, and he's rolling his eyes. Maybe that's because he shouldn't have opened it, or maybe because he's not enjoying it. I don't know, Hoyt. Dan Fordham is saying, sometimes in those scenarios, I have my other half pour me a blind dram. One of my favourite things to do. My kids are now doing it. They get fun out of it too. They look at the label and they memorise it, and then they come back and they say, "Daddy, what is this?" I've had a couple right recently, and that is not normal. Normally, I'm way, way off. Fantastic, Dan. She often picks the bottles I would have otherwise passed over. That's a fantastic segue into the bottles that I've clearly been passed. I was oblivious to the fact that I was passing these over. Everyone is saying, with whiskey prices going crazy now, I'm nursing the hell out of my bottles. I do treat gifted bottles differently, as they have a story behind them that I don't want to lose. Listen, there's so many of the sealed bottles I have here are exactly that. It's not because they're valuable. It's because they have a particular story with them. And often the person who's gifted them to me or sent them to me, I'm kind of keeping them so that we can open it when we're together. I think that's kind of cool. Maybe that's what you're doing too. Casey 45.7, that looks like a new name. Aqvavitae. At what level is your prized Brora at? At what level is your prized Brora at? What do you mean level? I have one Brora. I have one, and I bought it because all of my family chipped in towards it for my 50th birthday a couple of years ago. So the level that's at is that it's going to be opened and shared up in Sutherland one day, probably while it's raining, being Scotland, with some close whiskey pals. Take it back to its source to open it. Scotch in the Bayou saying, we have such a limited selection locally, I tend to go bright, light, crazy. When I travel to a market with a much better selection, moderation is not always my best virtue. That's okay, Leanne. You've got fantastic virtues. You don't need to worry about that. Michael Fine is saying 245 thumbs up, still missing. Listen, thank you all so very, very much. I did notice a huge bump when I mentioned the like button. I forget to hit the like button sometimes too. I generally do, but it's free, and YouTube very much relies on the feedback there. So we went from 164 to 166. So 2 people, 170. It's wonderful to see. Listen, you don't need to hit the like button. But it is very, very nice if you do, and I certainly appreciate it. And YouTube seems to too. Also, it helps us. I think we've all kind of just got into the habit of hitting the like when we see something that we enjoy or we like. It's just a nice little thing to be able to do in these modern times. But I do sometimes forget. Vidar Berg Nielsen is saying, the only bottles in my collection that I'm precious about are the distillery and my birth year. The rest are all fair game. I have very few that I'm precious about. There's Bobby Parnell. And Bobby, how are you, my friend? The basic problem, though, is a good one. There are just too many great whiskies out there right now. It's tough to resist buying, even when you have no shelf space left. Exactly. If you've got no shelf space left, how do you get that? How do you get your whiskey out to see that you've got that, to help yourself from suffering from FOMO, to have this this idea and this constant visual reminder of what you have. It's made a huge difference. When I moved the vPub into this room, for the first time ever, I had all my whiskey in one room. And it's all organised. So I know where to go and grab whatever bottle I want to grab from the shelf now. I know roughly where it's going to be on the shelf. I've got my Speysides, I've got my Highlands, Campbelltown's Isles, all the scotches sorted into region. Doesn't always make a lot of flavour sense, but it's fine in my mind. World whiskies. And then behind me, the backdrop here is a little kind of just what whiskies that I think might look quite nice together. There's no rhyme or reason to these here. But the main section over there is organised. I need to be able to grab what I want. As I mentioned a segue there, here are some whiskies you might remember me opening in the vPub. They've all been opened for a reason, and look at these fill levels. This is a downside of open bottle syndrome. This is a problem. And I'm going to open one or two of these, or I'm going to try one or two of these to say, is it really because I didn't like them? I'm suspicious that they've been forgettable. Bourbon cask Glenlivet Nadura. This was not an expensive Glenlivet, and it's fully naturally presented. Nadura is the name. 60.3 ABV from a first fill bourbon cask. I remember talking about this. I don't remember what this, maybe it was the cask strength night. I don't actually remember for sure, but let's have a wee pour. I'm only pouring tiny amounts tonight because I'm up early in the morning, as I've said. How are we doing for time? An hour in, my goodness. Why have I not gone back to this? Bright fruits, white stone fruit, very clean bourbon cask. Vanilla, custard, creamy. I remember this being sharp and hot. 60.3% makes sense, right? But it doesn't nose like that tonight. I wonder where I got these Fife Whiskey Festival glasses from. Okay, it is hot. That's why. It's hot in the palate. 60.3%. This is something that's going to take a wee bit of water to cool down. But let's do that. Let's put a wee drip of water in it and leave it to the side. But I think this often happens when you've got so many open bottles. You'll get something that you don't really connect with, you don't fully understand when you first open it, and you'll just kind of go, and you'll put it to the side. I think the Naduras are better when the cask is a little bit more active. This is a bit young. I think it needs a bit of time. I think that's the problem with this one. But it wasn't expensive. I've got other whiskies like that as well, so probably I'm reaching for those, and I've forgotten about my wee Glenlivet. Bobby Purnell's bought me a dram. Glad to be able to drop into the vPub for a change. Bobby, you've been around for a long time, my friend. It's wonderful when you can drop in whenever that happens. Bobby out there in Texas buying me a wee dram. Thank you, my friend. Sláinte to you. I hope you're well. And Gordon Fraser is saying, I love the thrill of a new open. It's addictive, the suspense of what this new bottle might hold. Taking out the bottle, tearing that foil off, removing the foil, and that pop and that first glug going into the glass, it's so... I'll just say the word, it's thrilling. Like you say, Gordon, it is a thrill. After maybe perhaps thousands of bottles for me now, I still get that excitement, that thrill, even when it's a bottle I've had before, like that Speyburn 15 tonight. Another one that I've been reaching past, and I think I marched it out on the same show, the Cask Strength show. This is the Highland Park Cask Strength Batch 2. I think if you're going to go to Highland Park, I think this is a good one to go to, because the value of Highland Park is in question these days. But this isn't too expensive, the Cask Strength version. And it's been widely enjoyed. Just pour a tiny wee bit of this. Why have I been reaching past this Highland Park? Why have I been ignoring you? Very rich, very aromatic. 63.9%, very high ABV, very high for a Scotch. The fill strength in most distilleries around Scotland is 63.5. So this has obviously been filled quite a bit higher than that. This is fruity, much more kind of rich in the oak, suggestive of rich sherry. Not too rich. Dried fruit, definitely. Fig. Looking for smoke, but it's very subdued, very quiet. Incredible. So 63.9%, 60.3% on the Glenlivet. The heat of the Glenlivet makes the Highland Park taste soft. Incredible. Okay, the Highland Park is now going to be pulled to the front of the cabinet. That's much more enjoyable than I remember. I think it's just been pushed to the back because I often don't have a lot of reason to talk about Highland Park on the vPub. But there are occasional bottles from them from time to time that's worthy, and I think honestly the cast strength version is probably that. The age-stated stuff, I mean, the 12 is still a great budget all-rounder in the UK. I know it's not a budget whiskey everywhere, but it is in the UK. The 18-year-old is far too expensive, well north of £100 now. Yeah, and the rest of the range, can anyone keep up? Jimmy Ledaig and Graham Young have both bought me drams. Jimmy Ledaig is saying, so great to see Bobby Purnell that I'll buy you a dram too. You star, Jimmy, thanks so much. And Graham Young is saying, thank you, Roy, for your entire group. For our entire group, hard to imagine a time before this existed. A wee contribution towards the vacation time, a dram for a wee change for the ride, a wee charge for the ride. Thank you very much, Graham. I know you're talking about our ride together up to Glenturret last year, but also the ride of over the last few years and all the friendships and connections. It's really been fantastic. Thanks very much. I loved the post in the Aqvavitae Barflies page about that quite recently. Absolutely loved it. Cheers, Graham, and cheers, Jimmy Ledaig. That's enjoyable. Here's another one, and I'm surprised that I've been ignoring this one. Excuse me. 63.9 on the Highland Park is probably having an effect here. I found this with only one dram out of it at the back of the top shelf of the cabinet, hiding behind all its siblings, because I love this distillery. And I realised, why is there only one dram out of that? So sometimes with open bottle syndrome, it's not just that you're reaching past or you're ignoring, or it's May whiskies that haven't left an impact, they're just not memorable. Sometimes you get so many open that something just gets pushed to the back and you forget about it. So I dug this out, and over the last week, I've been enjoying this. This is a 40% whiskey that I love. So for all my snobbery and for all my demanding that Scotch malt whiskey has nothing taken out, nothing added, all of the nonsense, I wish it would come on camera. I need to push that to make it focus. It's focusing on the logo behind me. There you go. Focus on that, please. 12-year-old Anok from Knockdhu Distillery. I love this because it's pretty unique. I think it's a fantastic whiskey. It's odd that the 12-year-old probably gives us the most Knockdhu thing out of them all. My favourite probably is the 16-year-old discontinued ex-bourbon. You know how much I love the 18-year-old. It's been my whiskey of the year in the past. 24-year-old is exceptional value. It's just a good distillery. They've got peated versions. They've got vintage age statements that come out annually as well. Good selection. Not much goes on in the way of price gouging from Knockdhu. It's fantastic stuff. Why have I not been enjoying this? Well, I made good over the last week, and I took it down below the shoulder and reconnected with something. So honestly, if you are just kind of enjoying whiskies, there is an argument for managing your collection. And for everybody out there that just likes to have a dozen or 2 dozen or whatever it may be open, that makes sense to me. Because clearly I've got an admin issue. I cannot, and things like this end up getting ignored. And I'd forgotten that I even had this on the shelf. Finally, here's 2 that I have tried more recently, and one of them has gone up in my memory, and the other one has gone down. The one that's gone down first is unfortunately this Glenmorangie Nectar d'Or. There's no age statement on this one. This is a non-age stated one. 46% ABV. I had hopes for this at the ABV, and yeah, it's a modern, sickly sweet whiskey, and I don't love it. The Sauterne doesn't do Glenmorangie a lot of favours, not in this batch for my palate. The whole thing is just a wee bit too cloying, a wee bit too sweet. I paid too much for this. This tastes to me like a lot of 30 quid whiskies. And I tried it recently as well to try and see if it deserves to be brought a bit forward again, but no. So when you're over accumulating and when you are buying a lot of bottles and opening a lot of bottles, there's inevitable times that you're going to get something that you personally don't connect with. Surprisingly, though, this Japanese grain whiskey, Cheetah, was lovely. Very appley. I don't remember it being appley when I first tried it. Very bright and fresh. A wee bit of cinnamon, a wee bit of grassiness. This was a nice whiskey. I have plans and ideas for this in the future. So there are some whiskies that I have neglected. The only other question I was asked that I want to answer is, how does it affect my future purchasing decisions? Everything I purchase, let's say 95% of what I purchase is purchased with the channel in mind. I'm buying things that I think is going to bring a value to the channel these days. Most of the over-accumulation is that too. There are some independent bottles. There are some self-indulgences, things that I buy just for me that's not really got a lot of validity to share on the channel. It's not available widely. It's not available to everyone, or it's small batch. Generally, what dictates my future purchases is new things, exciting things, exploratory things, gaps in the collection, gaps in the cabinet, things that I've been ignoring in the past, where it's my job to work on your behalf and try these whiskies and find the things that are worth evangelizing about, things that I really think that you should be picking up and sharing. Let's bring in my guests. Let's see how they're doing. Multi-mission, Menno is saying, I'm with you on that Glenmorangie Nectar d'Or, 200%, Roy. That's not a good representation of what Glenmorangie can be. I have to agree with you. I don't know how it's just a shame. I would never have, everyone is saying I would have fewer long-standing open whiskies if you, Jimmy Ledaig, Scotch in the Bayou, Multi-Mission and Whiskey Mystery were neighbours. Amen to that. Can you imagine, Chris? That would be quite incredible. But if we were your neighbours, we would all have a big sack of whiskey, wouldn't we? How would we all get through it? We need to have neighbours who are whiskey curious and don't have collections yet. That's how we get through our long-standing open bottles. Cheers. Okay, let's get our guests in. Tonight, I want to, I was given a bit of a hard time recently because I started a new project called dramfeast.com, and I didn't ask permission of the two elders of the channel, Jimmy Ledaig and Doc McCallan Fine and Rare. Of course, that quip was from our friend Jimmy Ledaig. So I'm here to apologise to him. He's here to play a wee game of Visit Speyside. Oh my goodness. This is quite intimidating. This didn't happen before we went live. Let's bring in Jimmy and see what he's wearing tonight. I don't know what's going on here, my friend. We can certainly see you. This is intimidating stuff. I think you're muted. No, are you muted?
I'm just not saying anything.
Okay. That was just a silent, menacing laugh. Yes, and you've actually gone out and bought yourself some Dramface merch as well. Thank you very much for the support on the project. Terrific. Jimmy, are you enjoying Dramface?
Yeah, love it.
Good, fantastic. You were a bit suspicious when I announced it, right? And you were a wee bit annoyed that I didn't ask your permission first. What am I doing? Diluting my vPub efforts, right? But now you see what it's about, right? Yeah. Listen, there's a huge team behind Dramface. It's not just me. I actually do very little compared to a lot of them, the editor notwithstanding. And it runs through all of those wonderful people writing, contributing, managing, sharing. So hopefully it's going to continue to grow and grow. But thank you very much for your support. I know you came on very early as a supporter, Jimmy, and you've been quite vocal about your support as well. That means a lot. Good stuff. So yes, you're not. I'm forgiven. I will apologise. I did not ask your permission. I'll remember to do so in the future when I have strategic things to decide and dreams and plans. I'll come and check it out with you first. And it is genuinely nice to have a sounding board from time to time. But I'm suspicious that you would just let me do whatever I want to do, wouldn't you, buddy?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably. How do you manage your collection, Jimmy? What's it sitting at just now?
Oh, I'm a whiskey-based guy, so I can tell you exactly.
Oh, wow. So you're pretty good at keeping the admin up to date, right?
Oh, I've got problems, yeah.
Yeah.
I know everything, yeah. I've got 65 closed and 10 open. 10 open all the time, never more, never less.
Okay, so that's just something that you enjoy. You finish the 10. When you finished one of the 10, you get to open from your stash.
Yeah. It was 5 before I met you.
Ah, okay. Well, okay. So that's good. That's very encouraging because that shows that there's a wee tender spot in Jimmy Ledaig, and he is willing to move and compromise a little bit. So that's good. So 10 is working for you. Would you agree with me when I state that it is a reflection how we manage our whiskey collections, not how much whiskey we have? That's probably down to means, where we are in our journey, how much we've accumulated, all of these things.
What's available.
But and what's available wherever you are. Absolutely good point. But how we manage that whiskey when we have it is very much a reflection of personality. I think that is what you've just mentioned there. You've only got 10 bottles, never more, never less. You've got that. It's a metronomic thing, 10 bottles, 10 bottles, 10 bottles. And it's always going to be like that. How flexible are you with the 65 sealed?
Oh, I buy whatever I want, but I have so little available to me that it's pointless to. I mean, I look on the internet where I can get whiskey all the time, but there's nothing to buy. I bought 2 bottles this year.
That's just because of the state-controlled. Well, it's good in some respects because the pricing is locked down, but the problem is, maybe not as your reaction there, but the selection is an issue. Not only does it come to you late, but it often doesn't come to you at all, right?
Right, very late, and yeah.
You know the solution, Jimmy.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, a wee trip over the Atlantic. It doesn't need to be Scotland, but that would be really nice if it was Scotland. But anywhere to get you over in the European time zones so that we can hook up and sort you out with some bottles for you to take home as souvenirs. Yes, so that's a very, very regimented thing. This is interesting. I'm going to bring in our other elder statesman. I'm going to bring in Macallan Fine and Rare, who we just know as Doc. Welcome, Doc. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm fine. How are you? And all the butterflies.
Fantastic. Of course, you were actually sitting here alongside me what was that, 3 or 4 weeks ago?
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, it was great to have you back in Scotland again. We really need to get Jimmy Ledaig over here. But I'll apologise to you. I did not ask your permission before I went ahead and did Dramface, and I've been scolded by Jimmy for it. But I detect similarity between the two of you. Because I called you, I said that's a very Germanic thing to do, Doc, the way that you manage your collection. Tell us what you're doing. You've got your collection behind you. We can see it there.
Yeah, it's not my collection, but it's the open bottles. And that's exactly why I decided to come to this spot, because if you look at that, this is essentially what keeps me in check, so to speak. So the rule is pretty simple. I will never have any more bottles open than the ones that fit in the cabinet on the bar. So it's never going to be more than 30. Currently, it's 24. Don't ask me why. But that's my rule, and it really makes life easy, to be honest, because if you have that type of rule, which is easy to follow, you do follow it typically, and that's what I do.
Have you ever had an issue? Let's imagine you had more cabinets like that. Have you ever had an issue where you've had a bottle fade or decay or otherwise go wrong on you over time?
Yes, that has happened because, and that's probably also important to mention. I think a lot of you know that I do actually not drink that much, which keeps me in check as well. Because if I have a bottle open, if I would open all the bottles, let's say if I would open 200 bottles, they would all be, they would almost be full because I just don't drink enough. And I also have the benefit of having lots of different whiskey shows all over the place. that I can go to almost every other weekend. So that also allows me to try a lot of whiskeys. I mean, as you know, I've just been to Nuremberg, trying probably 40 to 50 different whiskeys or even more. And yeah, why bother buying them if you have a try? That essentially is like it's like opening a bottle. You try it, and if you really like it, you would buy it, correct?
Yes,
and
yes.
If it's okay, and having done that since 1996, I do have some experience. Yes. So I know, okay, this is a good bottle, but I don't necessarily have to buy it. Even though I have to admit at this point that I have also, by the way, available on Whiskybase, everybody can look it up, 676 bottles that are closed, and the 24 open, as I mentioned. So it's 3.55% at this point.
So you're actually on 700 then, a nice round 700.
I'm actually on more than 700 technically, because I don't count the ones below 0.5 liters. So there are some, I have some smaller ones too, but they're not taking track
I always thought I was 10% of Doc.
yeah, it seems so. But I don't have 100 bottles open, Jimmy.
I think if you said since 1996, Doc, have you always been regimented like that, or have you gone through phases and then settled on this situation where you have a cabinet that holds 30 bottles and that's your max?
No, exactly. There have been phases where I had probably 60 bottles open, and it just turned out, I thought, this is open now since 5 years, since 4 years, whatever. It can't go on like this, and so I decided on a rational basis, so to speak, to say, okay, I have to limit myself at this point.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. I got around it because I went through the same phase, but I got around it by starting a YouTube channel, and now I can relax. I've got all the excuses that I need to have them all open, right?
That's another option, yep.
Jimmy, have you always stuck to your 10 bottle thing, or are you in the 10 bottle thing because you did cruise towards open bottle syndrome at one point?
No, I've never.
You've always had just a handful of bottles.
Yeah, I've never. I was 5, now I'm 10. I've never had any more than 10 bottles open. I can't.
Doc, what do you think? A couple of years of working on Jimmy Ledaig, we could get him up to having 30 open, having a cabinet the same size.
That shouldn't be a problem. Especially after he was over in Germany and bought another 250 bottles for a third of the price that he pays in Canada.
Well, yeah, it's a good point.
That should be easy.
Terrific stuff.
Yeah. Coming back to your question, you asked if I ever had bottles going bad. And the answer is, I think, pretty much in line with a lot of people said. Rep Mordecai, for example, mentioned that the PT ones tend to have some issues. I can't really explain it, but I had a couple of PT ones that really didn't work well. After about a year to 2 years, typically.
And so that's interesting. That's what, as Reb was talking about there. When you saw that change, that decay happen, was it specifically the peat, or was it the PT whiskey?
It was the PT whiskey overall. It was not like the peat was fading. It was really the whole whiskey fell apart. It didn't really work. It was flat. It lost flavor. It lost aromas and so forth. It really, as I said, it disintegrated sort of.
I wonder then, I mean, the oldest PT whiskey that I have open is that Ledaig. And I'm telling you, you could pour that, you could taste that. I think I've given you this, Doc, but you could taste that, and you would not be able to tell me that's been open long in glass, especially if I gave it to you blind. Okay. You would just say, okay, I don't know what this is. It's very bold and very peaty still. But I accept what you're saying. I have not had the same experiences as you and Reb, but I don't know how sensitive I am to it, and I don't know if I'm looking for it as well. I also have
let me be a little bit more specific. I think when I'm looking back, it's been the younger ones, the younger PT ones. The older ones probably are already oxidized to death, and not much happens. Yeah. But the younger PT ones, I think, were the critical patients.
I also have this thing that I enjoy, because there is no doubt in my mind that the really vibrant neck pour versus the quite soft and rounded bottle kill pour at the end, the last dram from the heel, there is a difference. The bottle does change over time. There is no doubt in my mind that it changes, okay? I know some people argue against that and say, no, it's stable, it's fine. And but I'm telling you, I like the journey of the bottle. So I wonder if I'm much more accepting and I'm less critical of the whiskey that's in the end. I'm just kind of enjoying how it's kind of transitioned a little bit. Jimmy, with just 10 bottles on the go, you've probably never lost a bottle to it being open, right?
But I've tasted some in bars, you know right away as soon as you have one it goes flat and tasteless, you can tell. It's not at all.
Yeah. Well, I think I thought that I didn't realize how close you two guys were in terms of you're very disciplined, you're managing this thing. But let's be honest, as the elder statesman of the channel, it's because it comes with a bit of savvy experience. I think that's what's happening there.
And
would you? Sorry,
I have German heritage.
So maybe, I was right. And maybe it is a Germanic thing. You just never know, the discipline perhaps. But what I'll say, would you have concern, or would you, if anybody is like Dave Cummins, perhaps, some of the younger guys that's coming in here that are playing a wee bit of a kind of express lane catch up, would you be nervous, or do you think it's fine for them to go through an exploratory phase where they're going to end up with a cookie trail of open bottles? Or would you say, probably the best thing to do would be to slow down and take your time? You're going to be here for a long time. What would be your advice, Jimmy?
Don't be like me would be my advice to you. I am the worst.
So you
don't listen to what I do.
Yeah. You do what suits you. And also where you are locally, Jimmy, you've mentioned in the past, there's no whiskey clubs, there's no whiskey festivals, there's no whiskey fairs. So you have to keep your collection neat, because it's really just for one or two folk, you and one or two others at the most, right?
Well, a few other people, but it's a rare occurrence, right? Especially since people aren't around because of the thing that's going on.
Yeah, the thing that's going on, the thing that we don't realize. Yeah.
But,
and Angie doesn't drink whiskey, does she?
No, she does complain about the smell of it sometimes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not an evangelist yet. Having said that, I am an evangelist who's not been able to convince my wife to drink whiskey either. Falsgraf is saying, I am as German as they get from a heritage point of view, but I am much like you. Oh, so it's wrong to pigeonhole an entire nation based on the behavior of two people in the Aqvavitae channel, for sure. Absolutely, Falsgraf, absolutely. Alistair Gray saying good evening, and Aqvavitae and Barflies from Port Fortune, Louisiana. Alistair Gray is in Louisiana. What about that? I do believe we had Scotch on the Bayou, Leanne, in a wee bit earlier. I know that Louisiana is a big place, Alistair Gray.
Yeah.
You never know, you might be able to hook up. That would be amazing. Anyway, guys, who's playing? Is it a Speyside? I think you're both going to have a go, right?
Yes.
Doc, you're up first. Okay, this is just I've got 10 questions, or Doc has 10 questions, perhaps, to guess a core range product that we have on hand. I don't know what Doc has. Doc doesn't know what I have. Doc, who's guessing? You're reaching down for a bottle.
I have a bottle right here, so you are. This time we change it. So it's your turn.
The last time you were on, you were doing the guessing. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think I've done it a couple of times, and I was always the one asking questions. So now I'm.
Did you always guess?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, of course you did. You're Doc.
No,
I would be shocked if you didn't. Okay, we're only playing
a couple of coins here, that's for sure.
We're just playing for this little coin. Jimmy, you've got yourself one of these now, haven't you? Fantastic, good. Okay, but we're going to have a wee game with you in a minute. Okay, buddy, let's pull up the counter. I was just making sure I had one there. And I have now got 10 questions to guess what Doc has off screen. Am I handicapped tonight, Doc, or am I allowed my full 10?
No, go for it. It's a tough one, to be honest.
Ooh, I don't know if you're helping me there by saying that. Okay, here goes. Is it a Speyside, Doc?
Nope.
Is it a Lowland?
Nope.
See, you've got me thinking because of the tough one, right? Is it a Highland?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, we'll go with the geography this time.
Okay.
Actually, no. Is it owned by one of the big four? The big four being Grants,
Nope.
Edrington, Diageo, Pernod Ricard?
Nope.
It is not. Is it an Eastern Highland?
Define Eastern Highland.
Okay, by Eastern Highlands, so the Eastern Highlands tends to be the highlands that are on the east. So,
oh, really? Okay, I get that. Yeah.
so it is actually it's not an official SWA region, but it is the Eastern Highlands. So I guess you're looking at things like anything that's east of Speyside, I suppose.
Okay, so we're talking northeastern Highland then. Okay, got it.
Northeastern. Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Okay. Would you consider it then a Southern Highland?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
let's say yes. Let's call it a yes.
Yeah, I took it as a yes. Okay.
Jimmy's having fun. That's good.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say it's Southern Highlands, yes.
Yeah, okay. So the Southern Highlands...
Taking your Dalwhinnie line, it definitely is south of it, so let's put it that way.
Okay, Southern Highlands would be looking at Glenturret, would be looking at Edredar, would be looking at Blair Athol, would be looking at Aberfeldy. Is it 46% ABV or higher?
Nope.
Does it have an age statement?
Nope.
So I don't think it's an Aberfeldy then. Most of them have an age statement. It's lower in ABV. Oh wow. It's Edredar. It's not Edredar. What else is in the Southern Highlands? Eastern. Oh, I'm struggling. I'm struggling tonight. I've only got a couple left. Do I own it? You don't know. Okay, that's not fair.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. Let's put it this way. Last time I was there, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Have I mentioned it, Doc?
In the 5.5 years of vPub?
No, in the last 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Nope.
Oh wow.
I told you it's a tough one, I have to admit.
This is a core range product, right?
Absolutely. Can't be more core range than that.
This is why you wanted me to guess tonight, because you found this and thought, it's a good one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
You got him, Doc. You got him.
Founders Reserve from Glengarry, I think, is still 46%. So I don't think it's that. That would be Eastern Highlands.
And it's
something in the south.
I would call it Eastern, yeah. Glengarry for me, it would be Eastern.
Is it Tullibardine Sovereign?
Nope.
Where did that come from?
Last chance?
Tullibardine 225.
You're kidding me.
No.
There's a 500 and there's a 200 and what is it? 208 or something. And you picked the right one. You're kidding. I can't believe it. It's a Sauterne finish 225.
Listen, my face was already quite flushed and red tonight. And now it's even more.
Unbelievable. Why did you pick the 225? I had the 500 as well. And what is the other one? 208.
I was literally, that is what you call on the ropes, right? Literally on the ropes, fighting for my life. Fantastic. Well, that was a peach, Doc. It was a peach. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Jimmy, let's see if we can beat that, my friend. Let's see. Let me ask, are we up against the spreadsheet tonight, or is it just you?
No spreadsheet.
Okay, for those of you listening podcast style, we had a very kind of sneaky, suspicious look from Mr. Ledaig there. Okay, let's see what we can do. Are you going target, or are you You're definitely asking tonight, Jimmy, right?
You told me if Doc went one way, I had to go the other.
Well, I didn't say. I just suggested. You don't have to. Would you rather I guessed again?
Whose show is this?
Fantastic. Okay, good, good. I have a core-range bottle off to the side, buddy. I'll just pop it here, and I'll wish you the best of luck. Ask away when you're ready.
Does the distillery name start with H through Z?
Oh, oh my goodness. No.
Excellent. I might as well ask, is it a Glen?
No.
Oh, see now, there's nothing left. This is just easy now.
Wow.
I don't know why everyone doesn't win this game every time. I should just sniper it on you.
You should just try sniping it. Roy against the spreadsheet.
Well, it's not just a spreadsheet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I didn't do all this work for nothing. I'm gonna say it's not gonna be the Brora you're holding there, right?
Well,
that's not a question.
Well, okay, you phrase it because I nearly answered.
Don't answer. Don't.
Okay.
Answer.
Okay.
All right. Is it a Speyside?
No.
Really? You should have picked a Speyside. That would have made it trickier. But I guess
I'm getting killed.
You should have been. I expected you to be smarter, in all honesty.
Well, I think from now on, if there's a spreadsheet being used, there has to be a handicap. Continue, my friend. Go ahead.
I'm not handicapped enough. What kind of? What do you mean? Is it a Chivas or a Diageo? Pernod Ricard? No. Okay, that's good.
You answered, is it a Chivas or Diageo? And I answered no.
Yeah. So there's only 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 distilleries left.
Wow.
It's not a Balmenic. It's not a Ballandolic. So we'll get rid of those. It better not be. Actually, I had a Balvenie on you last time. I wonder if you're trying to get me on that. And you said something about Ben Riach earlier too. Is it a Ben?
Oh, good question. No.
Oh, you messed up there, my friend. There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
What do you think about this, Doc?
We still haven't talked about the region, have we? I mean, we have talked about the Speyside.
Yeah. Oh, about region is it? You said it. Oh, you said it wasn't a Speyside, didn't you?
It's not a Speyside, correct?
Yes.
Uh-oh. I've messed up. Now I'm in trouble.
Now the system.
If you click wrong, you see what happens.
Aren't there lots of A's and B's on Isla, by the way?
Too much. I've had too many Glenfarclases.
Is this the night that Roy beats the spreadsheet?
I've never been defeated, and I don't want to start right now.
Yeah. I think what the problem is, the spreadsheet is unbreakable, but the human element is very breakable, right?
Exactly. So I have not determined.
So let's do a refresh. We do not have a Speyside.
Right.
We do not have a Glen. We do not have anything owned by Pernod Ricard or Diageo. I struggle to remember what else you asked.
It doesn't start
it's not a Ben either. So there's only one more question that we can't remember.
I don't think this is great viewing for our viewers. Me clicking things.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with
it. Well, I'll ask: is it an Isla?
It is not an Isla, my friend.
Ooh.
Okay. Is it a Lowlands?
It is a Lowland. Yes.
It is. Okay. That makes a whole lot of difference. Why would you pick a Lowland? was like 2. Well, oh, did you go? I should ask. I can ask this then. Did you go new distillery?
Define new.
New in the malt whiskey yearbook.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's new, as in it was founded more recently than 2005.
Yeah, not Auchentoshan or Bladnoch or Glenkinchie. Well, that makes it quite tricky then. Well, is it a Daft Mill?
No.
Well, then I think you have me.
Distillery name starts with A to G, says Watchman 999. That's absolutely spot on, Greg. That was the one that we
Right. Thank you for that, whoever that was. It doesn't start with H through Z, right?
It
does.
It does.
It doesn't.
Yeah, well, you asked H to Z, and I said no.
Right, so it doesn't start with H through Z, yeah.
Ben Demon Hunter is saying, has Roy found a blind spot? Well, Jimmy's got one more question to ask, and then he has to guess.
Yeah, I just screwed it up. You wouldn't go with Glasgow, would you? You that kind of guy?
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't even know what their core bottlings are. I'll look at the chat. Glasgow 1770.
All of their core range is called Glasgow 1770.
Well, then I'm a winner.
No,
I'll give you the 3 options that you can have. You could have Glasgow 1770 original, Glasgow 1770 peated, or Glasgow 1770 triple distilled. So
I'm down. I was on a 1 for 2 once, and now I'm at a 1 for 3. One of the 3.
Yeah. Come on, James. Come on.
I'm going to rule out triple distilled because who cares about triple distilled? I'm going to say you went original.
No, peated. I say peated.
Let's remove this.
I can't tell what that says.
Peated.
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 Originally, that was the one I picked at on the Sunday for Roy. Remember, was it Roy? I picked the one the Glasgow peated for you last time.
Was that for? Is it a Speyside or was it?
Yeah, we played. The 2 of us played. Is it a Speyside?
That was 3 weeks
ago. You had the Glendronach 18, and
that.
I had the Glasgow peated.
Fantastic. And did I guess it then? No.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, good. Fantastic. Think Ryan McLeave has that one in the bag, says Multi-Mission. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to play as at Speyside anymore because I managed to get off the ropes like I've never got off the ropes before for Doc's Tullibarden, and I managed to beat Jimmy's spreadsheet. Immense. Listen, guys, that was just such great fun. Let's get into our Menno, and let's get in our vPub host for next week so they can hang out with us at the end. Menno, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. And Shayla, it's always wonderful to have Shayla joining and hanging out with us, especially when she wears the uniform. Thanks so much. Thank you for hanging out in the back. Thank you so much. Shayla, I have a feeling that I know what your answer is going to be, but what's happened to your whiskey collection since you started a YouTube channel?
It's exploded. Also, I think I may have got a coin because I guessed Tullibarden 225.
Oh, wow.
So I was in the background, but
I had offered you your coin to complete your set, and you said, no, I want to legitimately win it. Yeah. I don't want to be gifted one. I want to win it. So there you go. If you've done it tonight, fantastic.
Now I have 5 legitimate ones.
Terrific. Yeah. When you started your channel, how many bottles did you have, and were they all open? And what's happened?
Oh my gosh, like 10. I was like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I have probably over 100, somewhere over 100, and they're all open except one, which is just a secondary bottle of something I already have. So it's just it's a backup.
So you literally And I'll venture that you can use the YouTube channel as an excuse/reason.
Oh yeah, I have to review them, so
100% of your collection is open.
Yeah, 99. I have a couple of Bruichladdich, the classic Laddies from Jim that aren't open. I liked this one, and then I went kind of hunting and found a couple others. So I have a couple that aren't open, and then every other bottle I have is open. So
fair play to you, Shayla. Fantastic. Yeah. Well done. And I know you're loving it, and we're loving watching your journey as well. Yeah, super. Yeah. I could have guessed that, but I wouldn't have guessed 100%. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Menno, is it okay to put you in the spot, buddy?
Yep, sure.
You're going to put us on the spot tonight because you're bringing the quiz.
Yep.
we always love a Menno quiz, don't we? What's the situation with you? I know you're learned. I know that you're quite seasoned. You've been around for a long time doing it. I don't know if you've found a rhythm yet. What's the situation over in Menno's collection?
It's fairly easy. I have an arrangement with my wife that I can have one cabinet and that's it. So at any given time, I have maybe 60, 70 bottles max, of which about 50% of them are open, I think. So yeah. So it's a good thing I don't suffer from FOMO or I might be in trouble.
But you have suffered from FOMO in the past, right?
Yeah, I think to me that was maybe a bit of a newbie thing when you're just getting into whiskey and you're experiencing and exploring all these new exciting bottles available. I have to get that one. I have to get that one. I have to get an Ardbeg. I have to get an Old Pulteney. I have to get all these different sorts of whiskeys that become available. And but you learn very quickly that's impossible to keep track of everything that's being released.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's unrealistic to get all of those things, but I think it's important that we don't put the pressure on ourselves to have them all at the same time. Hopefully we're going to stay healthy around whiskey and be around long enough to be able to enjoy this thing for many, many years to come. So while we might not be able to fill all the gaps in the shelf right now, we can know that when the gaps become available, we can plug it with new things. I fully expect that Doc's 30 bottles doesn't look anything like the 30 bottles of 5 years ago, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the rotation is happening, and the rotation happens on the open bottles and the sealed bottles. Terrific stuff. Shayla,
yeah,
I have reached out to you once more to give safe shelter for everyone next week. Are you okay with that?
Yep, super excited. So we're going to do oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, tell us what you've got planned.
Okay, so we're going to do a basically it is a super self-indulgent stream. It's just a waxy.
All of the vPubs are always self-indulgent. I only talk about the things I want to talk about. So
yeah. So it's a waxy theme. So I'm doing a semi-blind waxy kind of flight. They might not all be waxy, but I just kind of want to. We were talking backstage a couple weeks ago, and you were talking about Clynelish or something, and I said, "Oh, I actually can pick out Clynelish in a blind," and you said, "Yeah, but wait until you have Clynelish and Chininik and Dalyuan and all of these others in a blind." So I thought that might just be kind of a fun thing to do, just have Dalyuan and Chininik. Well, I don't have Dalyuan, but I have Chininik and some other kind of. I have a couple of Clynelishes, so I think it'll be fun.
And maybe a Deanston, drop a Deanston in there.
Yeah, so I've got Deanston 12, Deanston 18, Clynelish 14, a Chininik 11, and Fettercairn and Aden 14. So we'll see how it goes.
And maybe just for interest, add in maybe a north of 25-year-old Glenfiddich and a couple of Broras. That'll really make it interesting.
There we go. Yeah. I've got those, just on the top.
How could you forget?
See them, but
yeah. Could you forget? Terrific. Listen, it's wonderful. We've got people like yourself and Venet No Nonsense Whiskey, Ben Clarkson Whiskey Geek, people that are willing to step up and say, "Aye, okay, we'll take the reins of the vPub for a wee spell, and let me have a wee rest." But I bet you I tune in. I bet you I can't stay away.
Way better to tune in than to run the whole thing. It's a lot less stressful. You can just pop in and you don't have to get anything ready, so it'll be good.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we should all strap in. It's I was going to keep it neat tonight. We're not going to make 2 hours. We never do. I can't remember the last time I made it sub 2 hours. But we've got a Menno quiz to enjoy. Everybody, this is always an event. I love it because I get to take part. I get to go through the pain with all of you as well. I have never scored a 10 out of 10. Surely tonight it could be tonight. Could it be tonight? After that Tullibardine, after that Glasgow 1770. By the way, I just want to mention to everybody, I have often been very complimentary about the whiskey in Glasgow 1770, especially in recent bottles, because it's getting very good. Better than most people imagine, I would say, because it was released too early and too young, and it put a lot of people off. This is good stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's a 50 cl bottle, and at 50 quid, I couldn't recommend it. That has now changed. Sorry. That has now changed. And not only have they brought out 70 cl bottles, probably got a lot to do with them wanting to get into North America, no doubt. North America has just opened up to 700 ml bottles, so they can now get the product into the States. So it's very appealing for them, no doubt. But what I really want to commend them for is they've said, okay, we're now at a critical mass. We've now got the economies of scale. We'll put it out at 70 cl and keep the price the same. Well done, Glasgow. Cool. I also had it with a nudge and a wink that they are also trying to keep the price the same as the whiskey becomes more mature, like a lot of the new distilleries are doing. They've appreciated that we've been paying over the odds for their whiskey to now. So a shout out to the folk over at Glasgow Distillery. Well done. That announcement this week is very, very welcome. And I'll be going out to pick up, Jimmy, I'll even pick up their triple distilled. It might just be one that I recommend to you. If we ever play as a Speyside again, just keep that in mind, buddy, all right? Listen, everybody, we're all going to just strap in and enjoy. I hope that your open bottle syndrome is in check. As long as it's working for you, whatever you're doing, you'll find it's probably a reflection of your personality. And I think that's what whiskey should be about. Don't sweat it. Keep it in check. Make the agreement with your wife on cabinet space. Start a YouTube channel. Stick to your 5 bottles, and then meet somebody that convinces you to extend it to 10, or do what Doc does and have a very fixed space on his wall there for the bottles to hang out. Do whatever. Do Dave Cummins. Do what I do. Daniel Whiskey Throttle. My God, he's got a room. These shelves are creaking with the amount of whiskey that he has. But it's all a product of passion, and that's why we're all here. Fantastic. Ready for the quiz, Menno?
Yep.
I've got your screen share here. Let's bring it in. Terrific.
Aqvavitae. Roy.
Huh?
Roy.
Sorry, Jimmy, speak up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I wanted to say, just so that people didn't think I was an idiot, there's always a Springer open. Always.
Oh, there is an exception.
I like that rule.
I didn't want people to think that I wasn't,
Jimmy's always got a Campbelltown open. Fantastic. Jimmy, I could have guessed that for sure. I could have guessed that. Listen, what we'll do tonight, if we've got a piece of paper handy so that we can, or just make an A, B, C shape with our fingers, whatever you want to do, so that we can all kind of synchronize and answer at the same time, because we're all playing it along. I would love for tonight to be a 10 out of 10, but it's probably not going to happen because we have our friend in Belgium at the helm.
Yep.
Take it away, buddy. Take it away.
I hope I won't rain on your parade, Roy, but here goes nothing. So it's a themed one tonight. A bit of whiskey history. Yeah. A bit of whiskey history.
Get your history buff on. Oh, history. No. Now we're in trouble.
Forget about the 10.
Shayla's got a chance.
No.
Here we go. So, question 1. Which whiskey company started out on May 24th, 1895 and has remained in business ever since? And if you look at the little logo at the bottom, you may see that this comes from Dramface.
Oh,
is it
I recognize that.
Chivas Brothers? Is it B, Gordon and MacPhail? Or is it C, DCL?
This is an interesting one. I think I know this.
I couldn't even.
Sugar Kitty's saying I can say it's raining like hell in New Jersey. Whiskey Throttle is saying that, and I don't have a spouse to keep happy. Ooh, Well, or a spouse to keep you in check, Daniel. Exactly. Is everybody ready? I'm ready to. I've got a confident guess on this one.
Yep. If you're ready to commit in 3, 2, 1, we've got a lot of B's. Exactly.
I am a C.
Oh, you're a C. Out of the window. Out of the window straight away.
I thought G and M. So DCL was it got to be late 19th century though, right? The grain distilleries coming together.
Yep.
Oh,
both of them.
Right. I'm just going to leave now. Shayla, kill the stream when it's all over. All right.
See you in a couple weeks.
More like a grocery, right? Menno.
See you later. Thanks. That was nice.
Sorry.
Gordon MacHale was more like a grocery, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but the exact date was mentioned on a Dramface article earlier this week, so that's why. Cool. That's why I put in the specific date. Okay, question 2 for a 9 out of 10, Roy. The pot still, as we know it today, was likely developed in the 16th century by whom? Was it A, the Irish? Was it B, the French? Or was it C, the Dutch?
Espen Anderson is bought us a wee dram. Sorry, but I have to get up early tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Espen, thanks very much for dropping by and hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate it, even when you've got an early rise tomorrow. And thanks for the dram, my friend. Good night. Cheers.
I feel like I want to guess like something that makes sense, but I feel like it's trying
Menno.
to trip me up. You know, it's he's making it difficult, right?
Well, there's no banana skin emoji here, so
yeah, true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
If it's the Dutch, I call shenanigans.
Okay, when you're ready, Menno.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. So we've got an A and A. Roy's down for was that a B? A B, and Shayla's down for an A. Oh. This is not gonna be a good night.
Oh,
come on, this can't be true.
I thought no way it's C, right? There's no way.
Yeah, they all have all these nations have a rich history of distilling. It's just the Dutch do it with Geneva, as we do in Belgium. So they're the ones who likely invented the pot still as we know it today. Okay, then fast forward.
Go ahead, Menno.
Yeah, fast forward to question 3 then. The infamous smuggler Magnus Johnson of Highland Park fame got arrested in 1813, but what happened next? Was it that A, he was executed, leaving the distillery mothballed for 7 years before it was finally sold to a licensed distiller? Is it B, his arresting officer promptly bought the entire estate and took over production? Or is it C, his staff plundered and sold whatever stock they could find and bailed him out, buying a license in the process?
Ooh, great question, Menno. This is...
Cheers.
That sounds like Shayla knows this one. And
No, I say great question even when I don't know. It's just a good question. I have no idea. I should know, but I don't.
I feel like I should know, but I am now suddenly, instead of being confident and hoping for a 10 out of 10, I'm now hoping just to scrape over the pass mark.
I think I read about it, but I'm not certain.
I definitely have read about it, but whether I've retained it or not.
If you put executed in the quiz, I will pick executed. Every time.
Okay, then, if you're ready, show me the answers, please. We've got a C, a B, and a B. That's a B, right, Roy? Yeah, it's a B.
A B, yeah. I need to.
Okay. Well done, Roy. Well done. You're bouncing back.
Bouncing back. Well, I've got one on the board, right?
I would have executed them.
Okay, then question 4. What or who was Farintosh? Was it A, the first ever commercial distillery in Scotland? Was it B, the alias used by Glenlivet founder George Smith to cover his identity in his days of illicit distilling? Or is it C, a variety of barley used at the turning of the previous century?
Okay, that's easy.
I'm staying quiet.
Callan says that's easy. So, oof.
Well, I think it's made easy by the answers, the options of answers that you gave
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
Mhm.
Robert Burns, just to name a name
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, then, lady and gentlemen, if you please, show me your answers. A, and Jimmy's down for a B. Well done, most of
I would
you.
just- Yes. Okay.
I got to
Interestingly, because of the tax break that Farintosh had, it did not need to pay tax. It was because of their support for William of Orange. They were given a break from paying any tax on the whiskey production. So Farintosh became multiple distilleries, funnily enough, right? All in the same area, the same lands. So yeah.
Did you make up B, Menno, just out of the top of your head?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
obvious, I guess.
Oh, Farintosh long lost, or something like that, right?
Yeah, the Rabbie Burns, yeah.
Okay. Question 5 is always the picture question. The famous gaggle of Chinese geese were a permanent fixture in Dumbarton from 1959 until their retirement in 2012. They were nicknamed the Scotch Watch, and the birds patrolled the warehouse complex in Dumbarton containing which whiskey? Would that have been A, Teacher's Highland Cream? Would it be B, Ballantines, or C, Bell's Special Reserve?
Oh God.
Holy shit.
I just do not know any of these. This is tough.
You have heard of Ballantines, I suppose, Shayla.
Yeah. I've
Bell,
heard of.
or-
Yeah, I've heard of these, but yeah, I just don't know.
I cannot believe that the picture question is just an illustration of geese, right? Like just
And
in case
calf,
we didn't,
and some
just in
calf.
case we didn't know what geese looked like. But perhaps it's actually the geese. It's the whiskey barrels in the background suggest it's the
Yeah.
geese, right?
Yeah,
Is
indeed.
our patrol.
They're not Canada geese, or nobody would have got that close to them.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make an idiot of myself here, but I'm going to go with it.
Okay, then in 3, 2, 1, answers, please. We've got B for Roy, an A for Jimmy. B. Spot on
Okay.
again.
Nice.
I feel like you
Valentine's
kind of
Day,
gave that one to
Valentine's.
us. You're being kind.
Nice.
Maybe.
Now I know why you did this for the picture, because you found that good picture and then realized, well, it's going to give the answer away. So I need to find another picture. Excellent.
Okay, then.
Eric Waite is saying you'd think it would be Glengoyne, Valley of the Geese. That's right.
Ah.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing, Roy and Jimmy and Doc and Shayla?
4. I'm at 4.
I'm still not comfortable. I'm not relaxed. I'm on 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
3.
Wow.
First time Roy and I have had the same score.
Oh, Jimmy's at a 1?
He's usually like, I'm on 7 out of 5.
Yeah, normally you're killing it. Normally you're way ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, for question 6, I hope I got it right, as we've got which distiller was the first to introduce steam heating for their pot stills?
Menno, you're bringing the brutal ones
Oh,
tonight.
God,
My
I feel
goodness.
like I just read this. Or maybe it
My
was...
goodness.
No, I think it was something about some fuel fired
Was
or
it-
something.
A, Linkwood in 1904, was it B, Scapa in 1885, or was it C, Glenmorangie in 1897? Yes, it is brutal, Roy, I apologize.
It can't be
But
Scott.
not really.
Not really? Okay. Have they all been around then? I'll just ask myself.
Aha!
Aha!
See, I feel like
Darn
it would be cheating to use the malt whiskey yearbook, right?
Yeah. I know, I want to grab mine so bad.
Okay. That didn't help me at all.
Mm. Oh, fudge sticks. I don't know. All right.
I'm gonna go with it.
This is probably wrong.
Okay, let's go. Come on.
Okay, then answers, please. In 3, 2, 1. A C, a C, a C, and a C. Glenmorangie in
wow.
1897, all on C. Well, I can tell you that the distillery that introduced steam heating used it from day one when they opened up. And
Scapa.
the distillery was indeed Scapa in 1885.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dang it.
We all slipped up there.
Yep.
Nightmare. Okay,
4 more questions to redeem yourselves.
50%. Oh
Oh
dear.
my god.
Never come on the show again.
Question 7. Which of these is not an actual old distiller's trick? Is it A, during kilning, heather was added to the peat fire to impact the flavor? Is it B, to add color and sweetness to the whiskey, the insides of the casks would be coated with sugar syrup before filling? Or is it C, to prevent the liquid from foaming, soap was added to the wash still? 2 of these are actual old distiller's tricks. 1 I made up.
Oh my god.
A seems.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Menno. Menno resides in Belgium.
What did you expect?
If anybody is going through the same pain that I am right now, contact me directly, whisky@aqvavitae.com, and I will send you Menno's address. You can turn up at his house with a can of paraffin and a lit cigarette.
Yep.
Menno, what makes this a banana skin? I mean, it is by definition a banana skin.
Yep. I just wanted to emphasize the banana skin aspect of this particular question.
Having said that, I feel confident on this one. I
Oh,
need
son of
it
a
because I'm on 3 out of 6.
You need it. I'm on
Yeah.
1.
Hi, Graham Young. I do
Let's
need
end the pain. Come on.
Okay,
Come on.
show me the answers, please, gentlemen. Which of these and Shayla, of course. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Well, 2 of you got it right. That's a good start.
Which
problem
2?
is-
Come on.
Yeah, B is not. B I completely made up. So heather was indeed added to the peat fire, and interestingly, soap was added to the wash still
Yes,
to
this
prevent
I
the
know
liquid
for
from
a fact.
foaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call shenanigans because I thought B was just your way. You were using sugar syrup to talk about. I know that isn't strictly sugar syrup. Paxaret or Paxaret.
Paxaret, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Damn.
I thought you were trying to trick us. Dang it.
I regret nothing.
No,
Oh, this is- oh, this
Can we
is so bad.
play? Can we play? Is it a Speyside again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, this one is for you, Doc. If you were to buy Macallan, which was distilled just before or after World War II, chances are it'll be what? Is it A, probably a fake, as Macallan wasn't making any whiskey then? Is it B, peated and likely to be the only peated Macallan you'll ever find? Or is it C, single pot still rather than single malt, as they used whatever grain was available at the time?
These questions are so good, but they're also awful.
Okay, I have a benefit because I tried a 1940 Macallan once.
Oh, wow.
So I think I should know it, but it's Menno. So let's see.
But he does say just before or after. So
Yeah, that's the tricky one.
I never had the good fortune to try a 1940 Macallan, but so I don't know what it tasted like, Doc.
Very, very special and very weird, to be honest.
okay, I am locking it in.
Oh, God.
Graham Young is shouting,
Okay.
"These are awesome questions, Multi-Mission. You are the best." Graham, that's the
Thank
only
you.
thing I've ever uncovered that you and I disagree on. Continue, please, Debbie.
Okay, then 3, 2, 1. Answers, please.
I'm not even going to get a pass mark, I don't think.
C, And B,
B.
Roy.
God.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. B,
I don't think
Peter
that's
McCallum.
true. I think there's been other Peter McCallum. I don't think that's true. I call shenanigans on that one too.
Likely.
I'm
There
taking
might
it.
have
Jimmy.
been.
The
No one's
1914 was 1940 was peated, but they also told a story about using all sorts of grains.
Mm.
So okay.
Okay, could be. Let's see. But I specifically remember being
But-
informed
but
that B
even-
was
even
a
if-
fact. So
Even if they
Yeah.
used alternative grains, I would imagine they would still malt them. And certainly if
Mm.
barley was available, they would malt the barley. I can't see them
Sure,
using unmalted
Mhm.
barley, right?
Mhm.
Anyway,
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't give it that much thought, but I'll
Yeah.
take it, Roy.
But one thing is for sure that there are peated Macallans available
Mhm.
even today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Question 9. The Hague family are among the absolute pioneers of Scotch whiskey, and when starting up their distillery in the late 18th century, they brought in help and expertise from where? Was it A, Dutch Geneva distillers, B, Irish whiskey distillers, or C,
Dutch
French
and
brandy
Irish
distillers?
again. Thank you.
Now, are we gonna make the same
Here we
mistake
go.
again?
Deja vu, anyone?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
But the
will
sequence
not
has
pick
changed.
the
The
Dutch.
sequence has changed.
Dutch.
So
Dutch
what the situation that we're in now, I find myself in, I need either a banana skin or presumably an asshat to get a pass mark. That's how bad things are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
For you.
I have to get the next two right to get a pass mark.
That's the next two right to get 4.
Yeah. This is bad. Oh, God.
Okay. I
You're ready?
oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. The late 18th century. The Hague family. Okay, let's just go.
Okay. Then answers in 3, 2, 1.
Come on, French.
Ah, damn it. I just thought he was going to do it again.
Shayla is A, Roy is on B.
B.
Oh. Well, Roy, there's always the asshat question. It was a
Oh.
Oh,
Who got Shayla? Did you say A?
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
Jimmy's just packing up and leaving. I can't blame him.
Yeah.
He said
I'm-
Dutch for both of them. I wasn't sure if he would do it.
You double Dutched me.
That killed me twice.
Indeed.
Same thing here.
Indeed.
Right. So now I have a 33% chance
Yep.
of because I'm not going to know it. It's an asshat. Let's
Yep.
just go. Let's just roll with the punches.
How are you doing, Doc and Shayla and Jimmy?
Don McCausland is celebrating
Four.
a pass mark already.
I'm
You're
at
doing
6
better than me,
now.
buddy.
almost at a pass mark. We'll see.
Okay.
6.
Well done. Okay, obviously the last one is the asshat question. Here goes nothing. Between the end of the Second World War and the demise of Scotch whisky in the early 1980s, how many new distilleries were opened in Scotland, or how many distilleries were opened in Scotland?
Oh wow.
Is it A, about as much as there are now Glen distilleries? Is it B, about as much as there are new distilleries in Scotland since 2000? Or is it C, still more than the answers of A and B combined?
Ooh.
What is the lowest number of these? That's my question.
Yeah.
Probably Glenn, right?
Glenn, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Oh, if you guys think that, then I'm definitely going with B.
Yeah.
How many new distilleries were opened? This is so difficult. Oh my god.
Okay, Menno. I'm beat. I accept I am beaten. I am battered. I am bruised. Even if I get this, it would be on pure guesswork alone. And that is enough for me to realize that in order to guess my way to a pass mark, I am beaten. But what a quiz, buddy. What an absolute barnstormer of a quiz. I love it. When are we going to meet? I buy you a large dram of punch in the gut.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. Then 3, 2, 1. Answers, please. We've got a C, we've got a B, and we've got a C.
Come on, Roy. Come on.
And an A.
Come on.
And an A. Doc's already on a pass mark. Yeah, Jimmy's just nowhere. Sorry. Doc and
No,
Shayla and Roy are rooting for a C.
Yeah.
Well, there are indeed 25 Glen distilleries. There have been some 35 new distilleries since 2000. And I can tell you that between roughly 1945 and 1983, 66 new distilleries were opened in Scotland. So C is correct. Well done. You got a pass mark.
Pass mark. Scraped.
Yes.
Pass mark. Scraped. How did you score? Shayla? Better than 5, right?
No. That was my 5th. We were doing the same thing. We were both on 4.
Wow. So
yeah,
you scraped the pass mark.
Yeah.
Doc, you won tonight then.
I had the worst ever 6 out of 10, but I'm completely shocked because if I think about the ones been with a founding date between 45 and 83, I would probably come up with a handful.
Yeah,
Where
but
are
so many are completely lost and forgotten, right?
Or they had been opened and closed then. Oh, that was
no. Just some of them survived. Some of them
are still around, like Braza, Glenlivet,
Altovania.
So many. I mean, Loch Lomond in 65.
But 66, holy shit.
Yeah. So that is I'm very grateful of that one near the end. I still was not fully confident. Menno, what a cracking quiz! Honest to my goodness. Let's see what our folks in the chat make of that. I bravo, Menno. Oh no, okay, it's good.
No, yeah, I'm here.
Petehead is not giving us his score. He's just saying fail from 10. XTX Scotch got a 4. Don McCausland said 5. Feels like an A+ though. I agree with you, Don. I really do, buddy. Too slow, 5. Oh my God. 5 out of 10. Jerry Miller's taking it. Good enough for a Menno quiz, he's saying. Falsgraf, my 3rd non-pass. Oh, nightmare, buddy.
Ooh.
And even Andrew Butler, who's he's like our local encyclopedia.
Yeah.
6 out of 10.
Okay, I don't feel that bad then.
Okay, then I'm in good company. That's good.
But here's the big hitters. Peter Box tonight on an 8 out of 10. Steve Angus also on an 8 out of 10. Graham Young, shut up. 9 out of 10.
Wow. Well done.
Graham Young, you student of whiskey. That's not what I was going to say originally. Well done, Graham Young. 9 out of 10. Celebrate that, my friend. Fantastic. Anybody else? Let's draw 7 out of 10 for Sugar Kitty. Fantastic.
Wow.
It's not impossible.
Wow.
It's jumped. Ren is saying dang 2 out of 10. Ren, you'll get better. Don't worry about it. A Menno quiz is infamous.
This was a bit of a salty one. I'll admit. Yeah.
Okay, next week's quiz, guys, is going to be way easier than this. I promise. I'm not going to do this to you 2 weekends in a row. Okay.
So turn up you've got the link already, Shayla. I think Sugar Kitty's been dropping it in.
I can put it
but
in,
listen, you don't need the specific vPub link for next week because I know all of you beautiful whiskey folk and dedicated barflies will already be subscribed to Whiskey Central. Shayla, how long is it before you're in Europe? Do you know yet?
So the closing on the house is July. And then I have 3 months. There's like a 3-month waiting period. So I think somewhere around October, November, somewhere.
Okay, so it could be 2022 then. It could be this year.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully.
Just in time for a European winter. Ouch.
I can't wait.
She's in Portugal. How wintry will it get?
Well,
yeah, it's not going to be in Germany or Belgium or Scotland, that's for sure. But
yeah.
I'm so excited.
Fantastic. We're looking forward to having you on our. But to be honest with you, we haven't struggled to get together despite the time differences and the fact that you're over there in Mexico and things.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful that you're rocking up in the middle of your day to look after the majority of the barflies late in their day next week. Thanks very much. The last whiskey is the one I've kind of been ignoring all night. And I put a bit of water in it, and it's certainly done it a bit of a favour. and it's that Glenlivet Nudura. It's certainly come a lot better and a lot less hotter with a wee bit of water in it. So yeah, I wonder what whiskies you're forgetting about and at the back of your cabinet. Probably it's not likely to be happening to Doc because of how well managed it is. Certainly it's not going to happen to Jimmy's 10. Menno's decently administered as well because he's got his wife looking over his shoulder to keep him in check. And Shayla has probably got a handle on it, but I predict that that'll last for another year or two. When she's over here in Europe, her collection is going to, let's just keep an eye on what happens to Whiskey Central's collection when she's actually in Europe in a place where she can buy the stuff easily.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody, I've had an absolute blast tonight. Oh, I forgot something that's really important. So did you. Didn't we forget? Tom Verbruggen's birthday.
Oh,
Our barfly from Belgium, Tom, is celebrating a birthday today. So have we got all something, a glass in front of us so that we can raise a wee glass to say, oh, Jimmy's got a Glenfarclas 15 he's going to pour. Tom, many happy returns, my friend. I hope you've had a wonderful birthday and can't wait until we hook up wherever it may be in the future, my friend. Happy birthday, Tom. Slanjava.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Slanjava.
I'd also like to put out a huge thank you to everybody that supported Jason Bradford. He was doing squats every day for the entire month of March to try and raise funds for, I forget the charity now. Somebody's going to need to kick in and remind me. It's on the Facebook Aqvavitae Barflies page.
I cannot remember.
And just typical of the generosity of the Barflies, though, he was trying to raise £300 to do squats every day. He's continuing to do it even now, and the Barflies have managed to raise for Jason well over £1,000. Buddy, I hope you keep up the squats. What a terrific thing for you to have done. And you're a total star. It's just, I think it's the Ukrainian appeal. Was it Ukraine?
Maybe.
I feel like it might have been. Anyway, well done, Jason Bradford. What a star you are, my friend. I hope you keep it up. All the best to you and your health, buddy. Cheers. Wonderful to hang out with you guys. I'm looking forward to taking a wee break, but I know what's going to happen next week, Shayla. I will miss everybody. Looking forward to coming back in a couple of weeks' time. And I thank you all for stepping up to share and disclose all about what's happening behind the scenes in your whiskey cabinets and collection. Jimmy Ledaig, my friend, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I always love, I missed the punchlines in the chats tonight. I usually love the humor. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for joining. Doc, always a pleasure to have you. I know I'm going to see your happy face again in a couple of weeks' time in Limburg, and I can't wait.
Just
Menno, 2 weeks. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's close.
Wow. Menno, you have to, come on. I'll sort you out for the accommodation. Don't worry, if you can make it to Limburg. And Shayla, thank you so much for looking after us next week on the vPub. And Menno, great quiz, but I hate you, man.
I'll take that. I'll take it. Fair enough.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Cheers.
Slanjava.
Wonderful stuff. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I had a wee fun, relaxed night tonight. I was going to try to keep it light, but 2 hours, 23 minutes. Listen, I'll put timestamps, chapter markers underneath so you could keep up with what we've been talking about tonight and skip right ahead like I always do. Thank you all so much. I will miss you next week, but I'm very much looking out to hanging out with you again. I've got nothing in my glass now. What shall I pour to close out? Let's close out with a wee bit from the Glasgow distillery. I can be a wee bit more relaxed about this bottle now because it's no longer just a 50 cl. Now in the future, it's going to be 70 cl bottles at the same price. A much needed move. Super sweet. Sweet, sherry and peat just works together, and that's what they've done here. I can now start to celebrate my local distillery. Anyway, Slanchava, everybody, thank you all for joining with me another Thursday night's vPub. I look forward to hanging out with you next week. And until then, I'll raise this glass and say, you're all very dearly loved. Slanchava, see you soon. Thank you.